show you a people, just take my hand. A people that was tried down, taken from their land. So as a bond woman, a bond man, a people brought back into Egypt once again. A people that is suffering from curses so real. And if you don't believe that, just check the back of your dollar bill. We the people with the grip on his brother's heel. So they brought us on ships with the intent to kill. Cause we the people of the prophecy. A people lost like hide and seek. A people numbered like the sand of the shining sea. A people on a trail of tears that stretches far back. That's the eyes can see. The people like the city on a hill. The people that was hidden is revealed. The people who eventually would rise up and tell the whole wide world that their time's up.
Shabbat shalom, up.
Yeah, we the people of the promise. The prophethood is ours, not Ishmael or Muhammad's. Our roots is in the Bible, it was never Islamic. The Arabs push it on us through slavery and violence. For hundreds of years, we've been suffering in silence. The people getting shot up by cops with the sirens. Dead bodies drop in the land that is spiritually Sodom. Now we're trying to reach our God for asylum. We the people that was slain, the people that was hanged, all tied, beaten up and tamed. The people that's in need for a change. The people that the Father sent the Son to reclaim. The people that was bought with a price. The people of the Most High, the people of Christ. The people that was so damaged, but now we woke with the hope, singing Hosanna.
That's what it says, man. It sounds good.
Yeah. Later. It's the PEOPLE. You could read about us through the pages of the KJV. It's the lost SHEEP. All we want to do is serve God and be free. We a nation of kings, a nation of queens. A royal priesthood with Jacob in our genes. And this they know, so the nations despised us. But it's only cause the kingdom's inside us. So they got a plot and scheme to divide us. It's a weak attempt to try to deprive us. They try to rob us, but yet still a diamond shines in the rough, can't change his will. 144,000 say still, and the new city Jerusalem will still be built. We've been waiting for this time for the longest. Not a place to call our own, so we homesick.
Shabbat shalom, Facebook fam. Shabbat shalom to all my people on YouTube. We'd like to welcome each and every one of you tonight to week 12 of the transformation of the so-called black man, of the so-called African American man. Tonight we want to give all praise and honor to Ahaya Bahashem Yeshaya, Roawak. And for those of you not familiar with the Hebrew, that is all praise unto the Most High, in the name of Christ as well as the Holy Spirit. Once again, we'd like to welcome each and every one of you to week 12 of the transformation of the so-called black man, of the so-called African American man, who is from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule tonight. We know you could have been anywhere in the world, so due to the fact that you took time to join us tonight, we do not take your time for granted. We just thank the Most High for another wonderful Sabbath. You understand? We thank the Most High for his continued blessings. We thank the Most High that all is well with you and your family. We pray that the Most High has been with you all throughout this week, that all is well. You understand? This wonderful Sabbath that the Most High has blessed us with, we do not take it for granted tonight. And so we're so honored to be before you guys tonight with a word for the people. You understand? Before I get into the lesson tonight, I want to mention some things, briefly. We are in the process of getting back on the road. Summertime has changed, and we've been having some success. We're down in High Point. We did a couple of Sabbath services up in Monroe, North Carolina, and we're in the works of putting some things together for Rockingham, soon Salakia Raleigh, for Greensboro, for Winston-Salem. We're working on a lot of different things, and so we want to put it out there. If you guys are interested in bringing Better Day Ministries and Judah culture into your area, Peace King, good seeing you on with us tonight, Op. For any of you that are interested in bringing these Sabbath lessons to your community, please inbox us and let us know. We want to let you know that we do not charge anything to come and bring this truth. Our motto here at Better Day Ministries is freely we have received, freely we ought to give. For those who attend our events, all the events are free. Dress code is casual. And we also feed everyone on those days. So if you're looking to come out and learn more about who you are, if you want to bring this truth to your family, do you want to bring this truth to your church and to your communities, you want to get some understanding and some answers for what's going on, what's going on in our communities while we're seeing all this death and suffering and pain, we come with biblical answers. We come with practical application of how we can apply these things and can turn our communities around for the Most High. So please, if you're interested in it, let us know, and we'll be so willing to come out to the community and share this gospel with you. Now, tonight's lesson is entitled, ladies and gentlemen, What Are You Willing to Die For? What are you willing to die for? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have experienced so much death and pain and suffering in our communities. And it's unfortunate that our people are so willing to die these days for anything. You understand? People are dying because someone looked at them the wrong way. You got people willing to kill die, put their life in jeopardy because someone cut them off on the highway. You understand? You got people, our people in these communities, in these ghettos, in these projects, fighting over real estate that does not belong to them. You understand? You're talking about my turf and my hood and all these things where they or neither their family own the home in which they reside in. You understand? You got people dying because people wearing a certain color. You got people dying because someone are willing to kill for someone stepping on their shoes, disrespecting them, as they say, looking at them the wrong way. You treat your girlfriend or the mother of your child bad, and terrible, and then she moves on and goes to another man, and then now you're willing to go kill or put your life on the line. All of these different things that we're seeing, that we're hearing, that we're suffering with, or we finding all this death in our communities and our families. Tonight, I want to ask you the question, ladies and gentlemen, what is it that you're willing to die for? The other day, me and my girl was just, going through the channels, and we came across the movie. I'm pretty sure all of you guys remember Menace to Society. Now, mind you, we've long moved on from watching those type of movies to glorify, the evilness and wickedness that goes on in our communities. But as we saw it on, we began to have a conversation like we always do about, what was the reason why. And with the passing of John Singleton a couple of days ago, that kind of sparked the conversation about what was the motivation for a lot of these movies. We was talking about how the fact that a lot of our actors and a lot of our directors and writers and artists were putting this information out there because they wanted the story of our people, what was going to be told. But we knew that Amalek and the Jewish powers who ruled Hollywood had another agenda for why they was pumping, you understand, these type of movies and this type of music in the mainstream. And so as we were sitting there discussing that, there was a particular a point in the movie where Cain and O-Dog was talking to their grandfather, to Cain's grandfather, and he was going through Bible scriptures, and they were sitting there as if, just spacing out because they didn't want to hear anything to deal with the Bible. You understand? And, I pointed out that there's something that I hadn't noticed before, is that you notice, if anybody ever remember the scene, as Cain's grandfather is breaking down the Bible and telling him why, explaining to him on a biblical perspective of why we're seeing all this death because we're not keeping the laws. He was breaking it down like he was talking. He was actually saying that, like, that we were going away from doing God's will. There's a picture of a white Jesus sitting in the background. And it's like, before, all the times I've seen this movie, I never paid attention to that. And we've talked about the fact of the matter that this image, this false image, has led for so many of our people going away from the Bible and going away from Christ and the Most High because they're becoming so pro-black that they're becoming anti-Christ. And I was sitting there, I thought about that. I was like, wow, babe, you see that? And she's like, I never noticed that before. I was like, me either. And leading up to my point, long story short, as Cain walks out the door, his grandfather stops him. Shabbat shalom, Jay Shear. Good seeing you on tonight with his op. As Cain walked out the door, his grandfather stopped him and says, do you care if you live or die? And she said, I don't know. And ladies and gentlemen, I've worked with at-risk youth. I've worked with the criminal justice system. I worked in the school system for, ever since I graduated. Even when I was going to Fayetteville State University, a lot of my community service hours were with at-risk youth and things of that nature. And if I had these same type of conversations with people, I've got, people that I grew up with who don't care whether they live or die, and because they don't have any value for who they are. You understand? And because a person, you're going to learn tonight, we're going to talk about that tonight as we go into Sirach, that when a person has a negative image of themselves, a negative connotation of themselves, they will continuously put themselves at risk for things that the Most High has already given. You understand? So a lot of the things that our people are dying for in these communities are things, if they knew who they were, they would never die for. You understand? They would never put their life on the line for it. They would see that, they wouldn't see it as significant or something that is something to risk their lives for. You understand? So I want to ask you guys tonight, what are you willing to die for? And we're going to show you the parallel between those who are still in a sinful mindset and for those who are following the Spirit. And you're going to understand tonight that even though you may think that you're outside of that because you're not committing crimes or involved in what we would call hood affiliate mindsets, if you're living outside of the Most High, if you have a false identity in yourself, if you are not in full reception of your heritage and who you are and your identity, you're still dying for all the wrong reasons. You understand? So we're going to talk about that tonight. But I also want to mention quickly, there was a tragedy, unfortunate tragedy on UNC Charlotte campus the other day. Well, once again, a man has taken the lives of innocent people for no reason, for whatever agenda that he had. And we're seeing right now the same campaign come out. Every time One of these guys do this, the narrative is switched into two different directions: mental health and gun control. It's the same agenda every time. The narratives get shifted. But what I want to propose to our people tonight is this, and I'm not trying to be insensitive at all, but it's amazing to me. My father talks about this all the time. How Gentiles, predominantly Edom, the so-called white man, can shoot up a bunch of people, shoot at the police, go in safe. But the so-called black man, the so-called African-American man, don't shoot nobody. Sometimes don't even have a gun. As we saw in the situation that happened a few weeks ago in Charlotte, the young man was taking the gun and had it upside down and was handing it to a person in the car. You understand? And he leaves in a body bag. So I'm confused how all of these so-called mass shootings, how these Gentiles can do these things and walk away alive. But with us, it could just be a misunderstanding. And we end up dead. You understand? And because our people have this, and rightfully so in some cases, we want to judge the matters harshly when it comes to us. They say, well, the dude shouldn't have never went to Burger King waving the gun in the first place. That's right. You're exactly right. You're exactly right. But the difference between him was he was waving the gun, and the dude yesterday at UNC Charlotte used the gun on multiple occasions. But yet he went in unscathed. You understand? So I want to put this out here to my men tonight, that what are you willing to die for? Are you willing to die to seem right in these situations? You need to understand that you're not playing with the same rules. You're not being weighed on the same scale here. You're not being measured with the same measuring stick here. And we can keep sitting here complaining about it, or we can keep dying for it. One decision or the other. And what you're going to need to see tonight is, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you several examples of what our ancestors was willing to die for. They were willing to die for righteousness' sake. And how that reward is completely different from a brother who is following the Most High's law and the Gentiles take him out, versus you out here wilding, breaking the Most High's law, breaking the laws of the land, and get took out. Listen, all the protests and hashtags and T-shirts and all of those things don't mean nothing when it's all said and done. All of this posting on social media talking about he was a real dude and he didn't deserve that, he's dead. We had a young man up there, I think in Union County, committed suicide the other day. Dead. You understand? But like I said, when it's us, there is no understanding, there is no sympathy, but it's funny when the Gentiles do it. The narrative is always switched into two separate situations: mental health and gun control. This man would have been there and shot those people, and all the news media keeps saying is, well, what is his mental health state? Did they ask that about my man that they killed at Burger King? Did they ask what my man's mental health was when the cops jumped out and dumped at the dude with his girl the other day? Excuse me. These things don't come up when it's us. And until we get to understanding that we are not going to be seen by these Gentiles, these people in the world, the same way as others, we're going to continue to die senselessly. And you're going to find it out tonight. You understand? I don't care, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to keep calling yourself black, You want to keep calling yourself African American. You want to keep calling yourself a Christian, a Baptist, an Am Zion, a Kojic, whatever it is you want to call yourself. The Most High God are higher, and Satan is always going to see you as Israel. So you can refuse to accept the identity all you want. You can fight it all you want. It's not going to matter. You will always be seen as the Most High as Israel. You will always be judged and loved as the Most High by the Most High as Israel. And you will always be hated by Satan and the Gentile powers, the top Gentile leaders, for being Israel. No matter what you call yourself. You can keep saying it's your skin color. You can keep saying that it's your poverty. You can keep saying that it's the lack of education. You can keep saying that it's lack of representation and voting and protesting. You can keep calling it whatever you want to call it. But the truth is the truth. You're not black. You're not an African American. You're from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. Let's go to Revelation 12. I need you to hold that. Shabbat shalom, Brother Anthony. Good seeing you on with us tonight. So I need to put it out there straight up tonight as we get started here tonight. As I ask you the question, what are you willing to die for? Because what I'm going to show you in these first two precepts tonight is that Satan has already made up his mind about you. And it doesn't make a difference, as I said, what you call yourself. You can keep saying, I'm black, I'm African American, all you want to. He's never going to see you as that. You can keep saying, I'm a Gentile. He knows better. And he will continue to attack our people as so. I was talking about the other day, we were talking about this before we went on live. Let's go ahead and go to Revelation 12. I need you to hold that, ladies and gentlemen. I need you to get your separate tablet, your separate laptop or phone. And I need you to go in and go and Google. For those who don't have an apocrypha, I need you to go to Google and put in Wisdom of Solomon. Matter of fact, go ahead and put that precept in there for Wisdom of Solomon. You can take that and copy and paste it and put it into Google so you can follow along with us. Because what I'm going to show you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's an agenda. There's a war going on for your demise. And you can fight it all you want. You can think America love you all you want, okay? And you're going to die by the sword. As we was talking, I posted about this the other day. We was talking about it before we went on. I'm going to make this quick because I'm already behind. I'm 25 minutes into this and I didn't give a precept yet. But I was talking about, for those who didn't get a chance to see the post that I posted yesterday, and back in 1969, Ebony Magazine put a black Jesus on the cover of their magazine. And do you know that they didn't receive backlash from the Christian church, from Gentile Christians? They didn't see backlash from the Jewish people. The attacks came from our own people. Our own people threatened to cancel their subscriptions, you understand, with the magazines. Our people were sitting there in white images of Jesus Christ, talking about, this is a better picture. Put this up or we're out of here. Because our people, ladies and gentlemen, they can, listen, whether they want to admit it or not, our people still have a slave mentality. And they can't see themselves. They can't see themselves being seen above their slave masters. Because the Most High told me this yesterday, and I was like, wow. He says, our people see the blessing as a curse, and they see the curse as a blessing. You understand? He says that when he sends his teachers, his sons and daughters to wake up his children and tell them that they're not black, that they're not African American, and we got to get back to the law, statutes, and commandments, you see that as a curse. You see that as bondage to keep the Most High's law. The blessing that you were giving, the only rights to the Most High's law, the only rights to have a relationship with him, our people see that as a curse. And yet they see the curse as a blessing. Because they don't know that Deuteronomy 28:64 says that you will serve other gods, even wood and stone. So that wood, of that cross of Christianity, you don't know that's part of the curse. There's people who believe that slavery was the best thing to happen to our people, because without slavery, you would be in Africa running around, as they say, butt naked, when we never was living that way. That's the Hamites. That's not how Israel was living. And that you would never know your precious white Jesus. We would never know who Jesus is. And you're exactly right. We would never came here, we would have still been following the Most High higher. That's what we would have been doing. So they are seeing the curse as the blessing, and the blessing as a curse. And they're willing to die for the curse. And they're fighting with everything in them to receive the blessing. You understand? But I'm going to ask you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what are you willing to die for? Are you continuing willing to die for a lie? Are you continuing willing to die for money? Are you continuing willing to die for celebrity? To be a celebrity? To be a social media influencer? To have clothes? For people to know your name? To die to be an American? To die on the streets talking about Black Lives Matter? If that's what you're willing to die for, and we're going to show you tonight what our people was willing to put their life on the line for versus what our people are putting their lives on the line for today. Revelation 12, D. Need you to hold that and get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. So I'm getting, for you guys that don't have it apocrypha, go ahead and Google that because we're going straight to it. Revelation 12. D, let's give them verse 1 there so they can know who we're talking about here.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet.
Right.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now here in Revelation 12 here, ladies and gentlemen, we want to start here verse 1 to show you, ladies and gentlemen, that woman who is clothed, that got 12 stars, is the nation of Israel. Okay? That's who this woman is in Revelation 12. And the 12 stars are the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, for a second time, let's go straight to it. Let's go down to verse 13.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman.
He persecuted who?
He persecuted the woman.
No, he persecuted Christians.
He persecuted the woman, which brought forth the man-child.
Now, what happened is, ladies and gentlemen, is that when Yeshua HaMashiach, who the world knows to be Jesus Christ, shed his blood and took the sins of Israel to hell, and then he took that blood up into the mercy seat. You understand? For those who know what happened when he rose, when Mary seen him, he said, "Don't touch me yet, because I'm still in my heavenly body." He said, "Don't touch me yet." He couldn't be made unclean by being touched by human hands, because he had just rose, and then he was on his way back to heaven to take his blood and put it over the mercy seat. So once he put that blood over the mercy seat and paid for the sins of Israel, Satan, the accuser of the brethren, was no longer allowed to come back to heaven again. Because when you go to Job, the first chapter, you notice that in Job, the first chapter, you see that the sons of man would come back, and Satan was allowed to come and bring report back to the Most High. He would always accuse Israel. Well, these your people, well, look what they're doing. This is what they're doing. But when the Most High sent Yeshua to pay for the sins of Israel, he could no longer come with the accuser because their sins were already paid for. Right? So once he was cast out of heaven, you understand, who did he go and make war with?
He persecuted the woman.
He persecuted the woman. Why?
Which brought forth the man-child.
The man-child, ladies and gentlemen, is Yeshua HaMashiach, who the world knows to be Jesus Christ. And when you go into Hebrews 7:14, it says that it is evident that Christ sprang out of Judah. You understand? And when you go into Job 14:2, it tells you that Judah's skin was black. You understand? Now, verse 14.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she might nourish for a time and times and a half a time from the face of the serpent.
Now, what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is when you go to Luke 21st chapter, Luke 21, verse 20, you will see that Yeshua said, when you see Jerusalem surpassed by armies, get out. He told them, listen, when you see this, this is when you know that Jerusalem is about to fall. You do any type of historical search, you would know that the Romans destroyed the Jerusalem in 70 AD. You can prove that through history. But Yeshua warned all his believers to get out. Okay? And so what happened was, our people who listened to Yeshua, we went into North and West Africa. This is how we ended up there when the colonists, when the so-called Romans, when the Edomites came on their boats, the so-called Christians who showed up on the coast of West and South Africa and brought us into slavery to America. But from 70 AD to around 1400, we were there, and the Romans didn't know where we were all that time. Right? Verse 15.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
After the who?
After the woman.
Right?
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
That's your Christianity. That's your Catholicism. That's your Baptist doctrine. That's your Am Zion doctrine. That's your Scientology. That's your Seventh-day Adventists. That's your Jehovah's Witnesses. All of these things came from Edom, who came from Rome. Now, we ain't got time to break this down all the way deep. You understand? But that's where all of these religions came from Europe. So he cast out that flood, and when they picked us up to give us the white Jesus and the cross, they brought us back to these lands over here and made us to believe and worship their gods. So we will be carried away. But watch this, verse 16.
And the earth helped the woman.
And the earth helped the woman.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
And what happened was, ladies and gentlemen, when all the old records of us were beginning to be found and to be proven that we were the people and not the Jewish people, that's how the earth helped the woman. Okay? That's when all the Enoch was found. That's when the Dead Sea Scrolls was found. And you saw Higher in there, and you see all the names of who the true Most High is. Okay? That's how the earth helped the woman. So now we were able to go and find these true records and discover who we really are versus the lies that Christianity told us, that we were the cursed seed of Ham, that we were somebody else, that who we wasn't. You understand? Verse 17.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
Who was the dragon wroth with?
And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
Now he was wroth with the Christians.
With the woman.
With the Baptists.
With the woman.
Am Zions.
The woman.
With the black people.
The woman.
Uh-huh.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Over who?
With the remnant of her seed.
Right.
Which kept the commandments of God.
And what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is when they read that in your Christian church, they're trying to put Christian in there, but Christians ain't keeping the law. Christianity teaches you that the law is done away with. It's only Israelites who are telling you to get back to the law. And that's why the war's with us. And what else?
Which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yeshua HaMashiach.
You see that? Tonight's lesson is entitled, what are you willing to die for? The truth or a lie? Now let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. And we're going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, that regardless of what you want to believe, there's a war going on out here. It's a war for you, to destroy you. And I don't know how the heroin epidemic, the AIDS epidemic, the crack epidemic, the abortion clinics on every corner, I don't know how you ain't figured it out. You understand that the war's against you. I don't know what more is it going to take. Okay? When are you seeing Chinese people protest? When do you ever see Arabs protest? Okay? It's always us. We always got to march. Kids marching today. Like these protesters and walking up and down the street has been productive. What has it done? We're still dying. What are you willing to die for? You understand? Watch this. We're going to show you that there's a weird war going on right now. And whether you want to believe it or not, you are the target. And we're going to show you who is the one behind the gun. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. We're going to, second time, we're going to go straight to it. Let's go to verse 10.
Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
Let us do what?
Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
Uh-huh.
Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age.
You see that? And ladies and gentlemen, the poor righteous are the ones who keep the law, statute, commandments. Okay. That's you. That's your people. This is what the ungodly is saying. Read it again for him, Dick. He says what?
Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
Right?
Let us not spare the widow,
Let's not spare the widows.
nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of
I
the
don't
age.
care who it is.
Let our strength be the law of justice.
We said what?
Let our strength be the law of justice.
And they use the laws of the land to destroy us. Ladies and gentlemen, they came and put the crack in the neighborhoods and then writ laws in the book said you get more time for selling crack. Who did that? Right? Then, when the so-called opiate crisis came, they were sending people in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s to prison for crack. They were sending people in the 70s, the 80s and 90s and the 2000s to jail, to prison for weed. Now, the Gentiles are selling weed. They're growing weed. And when you get on these so-called opiates, they pay through the insurance for the rehab. Read it again.
Let our strength be the law of justice.
Let our strength be the law of justice.
For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
That's what they see you as. And you just talk about one nation under God. You think they love you? You understand? They wiped out a whole generation of our people with crack. But the Gentiles, they don't deserve that. Being on opiates is not their fault. Hey, you know, they just got a bad rep. You know, this is in a bad place. I tell you what, they all got insurance because we give them insurance on their jobs, not yours. I tell you what, we'll write it in there now that we can let them go to rehab on insurance. We'll pay for it because now all of a sudden, addiction is a disease. They won't saying that when our people's on crack and heroin, but now addiction is a disease. How do you catch that? How do you catch the disease for addiction? Right? You still think it's about your skin color? Verse 12.
Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous.
They lie in wait for who?
Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous.
Right.
Because he is not for our turn.
He is not for our turn. That's what they say about us.
He is clean contrary to our doing.
Mm-hmm.
He upbraideth us with our offending the law.
Right.
And objected to our infamy and transgressions of our education.
Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, he know by us keeping the law, we already looking at him as a Gentile and a heathen. Also, we telling him, bro, we don't want your education. We ain't believing in your evolution. We ain't believing in your Darwinism. We don't want any of that. We sure ain't believing that you're going into the moon. We sure ain't believing that there's no planets out there. We ain't believing none of that lies. We ain't believing your DNA records. We ain't taking your, none of that, okay? We don't want none of it. We don't want your vaccines, none of it, okay? We're gonna keep the most out law, statutes, and commandments. And if you ain't with that, the way we see it, we know you ain't with the Most High. And they know that. You understand? This is what Solomon told us about 3,000 years ago. What would happen to our people? You still think it's because of your skin color? Oh, there's more. Watch this. Verse 13.
He professes to have the knowledge of God and call himself the child of light.
You see that? That's what the ungodly said to us. They think they charge God chosen people. Right? You think they got something. Right? Watch this. Verse 14.
He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us even to behold.
Right?
For his life is not like the other man's.
His life is not what?
For his life is not like the other man's. His ways are of another fashion.
Ladies and gentlemen, see, The reason why they always try to promote the negativity of our community is because they want that image to be seen versus the truth of what's really going on. Okay? Why do you think, ladies and gentlemen, when a crime or something happens in our community, when the news media come, they find the worst person in the community, the most wicked or the most uneducated, the most unable to communicate, and they put that guy on TV? Why do you think that happens? Right? When a situation happens and they want to show you the mama crying and snot coming out of nose, oh no, my baby. Why do you think they do that? Hair all everywhere, clothes all, you know what I'm saying, provocative. Why do you think they do that? Because these are the images, ladies and gentlemen, that they need to promote. That's just why any reality show come out, hey, you want to degrade black people? We for it. Rapper, you want to lie? You want to tell them to fornicate and pop pills? Let's make that guy a millionaire. Or you want to be positive and tell people that, to get their life together? Get them out of here. Because they know. So even when they come into this awakening, that we're not black, that we're not African Americans, now the news media and social media wants to make sure that your first experiences of the Israelites are these radical fools that standing out on these corners talking reckless, talking about the white man's the devil, and then we're going to kill you and enslave you. That's what they want you to see. They never say, yo, man, these people are Israelites. They always say, the black Hebrew Israelite. What is that? Okay? They're doing this on purpose. Because they know the true sons and daughters of the Most High ain't like them. Ain't nothing like them, will never be anything like them. Watch this. Where we at, D? Verse 16? Mm-hmm. Verse 16?
We are esteemed of him as counterfeits.
Right?
He abstained from our ways as from filthiness.
And they know we call them counterfeits. We know they ain't with the Most High. They can use Christ's name all they want to, and we know they not with him. We call them counterfeits. And we look at their ways as filthiness. No, we're not eating that food. No, we don't want that unclean mess. No, we're not eating that food with blood in it. No, we're not forsaking the Sabbath. No, we're not keeping them pagan holidays. We ain't doing none of it. And they hate us for it. Because Exodus 30th chapter say that the Sabbath, those who keep the Sabbath shall be a sign from the Most High and the world to know who Most High real people are. You understand? When do you see Jewish people actually keeping the law, statutes, and commandments? When do you ever see it? When is it ever promoted? Look at all these people on TV, all these Jewish characters. Are they ever keeping the law, statutes, and commandments? You see them keeping the holy days? That little movie, the newest movie that got down out, The Last Hope, the long shot with that cat, that guy's a very outspoken Jewish cat. When you ever see him keeping the law, statutes, and commandments? Okay? You think he was at the Passover? Verse 17? Rest of verse 16, Salaki.
He abstained from our ways, from filthiness. As from filthiness, he pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that God is his Father.
You see that? Because they hate the fact that we know that they can do whatever they want to us, and we still going to be blessed. And we know that the Most High is our God. He's our Father. And they can't stand it because they know it to be true. You don't believe it? Check out Psalms 83. Watch this. Verse 17.
Let us see if his works be true.
Right.
Let us prove what shall happen in the end of him.
You see that? So they say, you know what? We're going to see if it be true. We're going to prove it. Let me show you how they say they're going to prove it. Verse 18.
For if the just man be the Son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies.
So what are you going to do?
Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience.
You see that? Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think all these cameras are all around showing us getting killed like this? Why do you think they showing us go through what we're going through? Why do you think everything is always publicized? With torture, with hunger, despair. They want you to see it. They want you to get mad. They want you angry. Why you think that? This is on purpose. Watch this. Verse 20.
Let us condemn him with a shameful death.
Read that again.
Let us condemn him with a shameful death.
Let us condemn him with a shameful death. That's what we were talking about a few minutes ago. When you see us get our heads split. When you see us get shot down, gunned down for nothing. Always the camera rolling. And they show it. When a dog get hit by a car or somebody do something to an animal, they come on and be like, yo, hey, viewer discretion advised. You might want to get your child out of the room, okay? But when they killed that man down in South Carolina a couple years ago, that all he did, ladies and gentlemen, his license was revoked, and the man pulled him over. Okay, he got out the car and started running, and the cop gunned him down, and they showed that on TV for months, every day, over and over again. Read it again.
Let us condemn him with a shameful death.
Let us condemn him with a shameful death.
For by his own saying he shall be respected.
You see that? They mocking us. Because they know, because we're following the lies and the gods of the Gentiles, they know the Most High ain't gonna protect us. That's why all your pastors are taught in theological school. Tell them that the law is done away with. Because he knows. As long as you're not following that law, you don't got no protection. They tell your pastors to tell you don't follow the law, and then they use the rappers and the so-called celebrities and the television and social media to make you also break the laws of society. So you're done either way it goes. You're following a lie either way it goes. What are you willing to die for? Now, we stayed too long in that, D. I'm already almost an hour in, and we ain't got to nothing yet. So let's go to Deuteronomy 28. I need you to hold that and put that Sirach in there for them. Listen, I need you to go ahead and keep your tablet, your laptop, or your step your phone out. I need you to keep it out because we're gonna be all in that apocrypha all night. Okay, so just keep it handy. All right, so we're gonna go Deuteronomy 28. I need you to hold it and get Sirach 14. Okay. Now, some of you may be asking yourself this, right? Okay. Why is there so much hatred amongst our people? So much anger? Why are we so willing to kill? Why every time you turn around, someone else is being killed? You know what I'm saying? Why that's what made me say. Why is it that
Thank you.
why is it that there's so much the anger and animosity going on in our communities, right? We like to spend a lot of time talking about what the Gentiles and the cops is doing to us, but we'll march up and down the street when someone one of them kill us, but when Junebug do it, everybody's quiet. You know what I'm saying? When we kill our own over something stupid and ridiculous, everybody's quiet. But I know it's always on your mind. Why is this always happening? Why is there constant murder in Southside Chicago? Why is there constant murder in these hoods? Why is this always people robbing and killing each other? Why does the black man, so-called black man, protect his wife? Why doesn't the so-called black man take care of his children? Why are we so easily willing to cutthroat each other, turn our back on each other? Right? How can it could be your man's one day and the next day you got the scrap to his head trying to rob him? And it's a repeated cycle. I know many of you ask yourself, why is that, right? Well, let me show you. That curse that you don't want to believe that's going on, let me show you that the Most High told us this is what it will be before we ever got to America. Deuteronomy 28. And then give him verse 54 there.
So that the man that is tender among you, and
He is what?
So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
So what happens, ladies and gentlemen, because the so-called black man, so the so-called African American man is going through so much turmoil, pain, and suffering. He has taken on the title of a Gentile, a cursed seed of Ham, a nigger, a black man, a African American man, a false identity with no heritage and no line of culture, no actual culture. The black man, the so-called African American man, has become weak and delicate. You understand? They can't stand for anything like they used to. They don't have the fortitude to fight and to battle for our families anymore. They don't have the fortitude. They don't have the strength to fight off society and to be there to protect their wives and their children no more. They become self-centered. We're going to show you, we're going to break that down even more in the next precept. But I'm going to show you why it's that way. So everything is happening. We became what, Deep?
So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
What happened to him?
His eye shall be evil towards his brother.
Now his eye is evil towards his brother because, ladies and gentlemen, because he's so weak, because he has so insecure, what he used to see as his man's, what he used to see as his strength, now he sees him as his enemy. Do you understand? Because now you put a bunch of people in a box, in a cage, and you call them animals continuously. And you take all levels of self-respect from them. You take all levels of dignity and culture from them. And then you paint this picture and then you give them this image of that's what a real man is, a thug, a killer, a wig splitter, a head buster. You pump that in his head all the time. So now he's looking at his brother with the evil eye. That's part of the curse, ladies and gentlemen, that our people refuse to believe. White Jesus, the Baptist doctrine, the Zion doctrine, and all of that ain't going to stop that. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you may not be selling dope to your homeboy, to your hood no more, but you'll cut your brother throat on a job. You'll sell him out as quick to get a promotion. No difference. Because you ain't got the opportunities as you feel in your heart to get a career and all these things. So now, listen, you're doing everything to be drafted by the NFL, everything to be drafted by the NBA, everything to be picked and get scholarships. So now on the team, now you're looking at your own teammates as enemies. This thing is bigger than, ladies and gentlemen, just some hood stuff. This is all around. Because when we was in Israel, everybody had everything. You knew what the gift and the talent the Most High gave you, you were good. When you was in West Africa, you was over there, whatever talent and gift you had, that's what you contributed to society. Over here in America, you don't have nothing. So you seeing everybody as a potential of holding you back, a potential of taking what's yours, as you said. That's down to the money. That's down to the opportunities. That's down to the women. Read it again. We have become what?
Very delicate towards his brother.
He's what?
His eye shall be evil towards his brother.
Now his eye is evil towards his brother.
And toward the wife of his bosom.
Not only evil towards his brother, but his eye is also evil to the woman that's having his children. Don't nobody treat our women worse than our own men. It's part of the curse. You didn't know that, did you? Why do you think there's so much so-called domestic violence going on in our communities? Why do you think the women are having to do everything for the children? Why no matter what the woman does for the man, he still hates her. He has no love, no appreciation for anything. Still smack her around. Still cheat on her. Still use her. Still rob her. Still steal from her. Still beat her up. It's the curse. You understand? And then, when the woman gets fed up, and she said, I can't take no more, I'm going to go to this next man. Now you willing to die for that same woman that you wouldn't even love and protect. You understand? And who else do he hate?
And toward the remnant of his children.
And toward the remnant of his children. You didn't know that it was in the Bible, the reason why the black man don't take care of his kids? Which he shall what?
Which he shall leave.
Which he shall what?
Which he shall leave.
Which he shall what?
Which he shall leave.
Which he shall leave. When our so-called black men was on the plantation, they had to beat him to the ground to sell his sons now. Now he ain't nowhere to be around because he's already gone. Some of them walk past their kids every day like they don't know him. Ain't willing to die for it, but you'll die for a color. You'll die for a shoe. You'll die robbing and stealing. But you won't die for your kids. You won't die for your wife. You won't die for your nation. And I ain't talking about no America. What are you willing to die for? You understand? Watch this. Let's go to Sirach 14. Watch this. Sirach 14. Sirach 14, let's start there, verse 1. Let me show you, all of these things that our people are dying for in the hood, Sirach is about to bring it out right here and show you why it's happening. Watch this, Sirach 14, let's start at verse 1.
Blessed is the man that has not slipped with his mouth, and is not pricked with the multitude of sin.
Read that again.
Blessed is the man that is not slipped with his mouth.
Has not slipped with his mouth.
And is not pricked with the multitude of sin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why these guys in the hood, these women in the hood, are always running off in the mouth, always trying to be tough and talking junk and talking loud and bringing all attention to themselves is because they got to put up this facade that they somebody. And the reason why they got to do that, because they sinful, wicked, and evil. Okay? You understand? So they got to do that because they don't got no backing of the Most High. They ain't got no protection. They ain't got no covering. They ain't got no peace. It's because of the lifestyle that they chose. Watch this. Verse 2.
Blessed is he whose conscience has not condemned him.
He's what?
Whose conscience has not condemned him.
See, ladies and gentlemen, when you get to the point where you don't feel no guilt in doing wrong, you are finished. Read that again for him, D. He says what?
Blessed is he whose conscience has not condemned him.
Blessed is he whose conscience has not condemned him. That is what?
And who has not fallen from his hope in the Lord.
See, ladies and gentlemen, when your hope is in the Most High, when you know that you got a relationship with the Most High, when you know that the Most High is going to protect you and always have your back, there's just certain things that you won't do. There's certain things that you're unwilling to try. There's certain areas that you won't go into. You know, there's certain lines that you ain't going to cross. But when you get to this point, ladies and gentlemen, that you done so much that you know now that when you done told yourself, there ain't no way out of this situation. I done too much. I'm going. Now, your conscience is now seared with a hot iron, as Paul says. Now, you have no desire to do anything wrong, do anything right anymore. And you're willing to do anything. You understand? This is what you're seeing in our communities. that not only are people doing anything, but they're doing anything publicly with a camera rolling on social media so everybody can see it. Because nowadays it don't mean nothing unless people know that you're doing it. You understand? Watch this. Verse 3.
Riches are not comely for a nigger.
Read that again.
Riches are not comely for a nigger.
Now the word nigger, see, I bet you didn't know that word nigger was in the Bible, did you? Now this is not the same as the word nigger, what the Edomites call us. The word nigger means a mean, covetous, stingy person. Sound like somebody you know? I'm going to read that again. It's a meanly, covetous, stingy person. Another definition for a nigger is a stingy and ungenerous person. Sounds familiar? Isn't that the characteristics and the attributes of predominantly all the people in our hoods? Covetous, when they always looking at somebody else. Man, look at that car right there, man. I want that car. Or they get on a little bit. Man, I ain't giving nobody nothing. I got mine. You better get yours. Read it again.
Riches are not comely for a nigger.
You see that? This is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, the wealth that sometimes is obtained in our communities never lasts. And now, because it's not unlasting and generational, people are willing to die for it. What else?
And what should an envious man do with money?
Read that again.
And what should an envious man do with money?
A person, ladies and gentlemen, that is envious of other people, what are they going to do with the money? See, ladies and gentlemen, the majority of the people in our communities that are going and chasing out the money, they're not chasing out the money so they can produce for their families. They're not chasing after the money so they can provide a better life for their children. Yeah, that may be, a consolation prize to it. So, but the majority of the people, ladies and gentlemen, that are chasing money, prestige, it's because they're jealous of somebody else. Let your haters be your motivators. How many times you heard that? In the streets and in the Christian church. Now, the striving for success has went to be pleasing and be used by the Most High, went from that to, this dude think he better than me. Oh, you think he's shining on me? Oh no, I'm going to come up now. I'm going to get this. Oh, she thinks she doing something. No, she thinks she got that purse. Oh, now I'm going to do it. And ladies and gentlemen, a lot of the things that they're doing now to get this money, it's killing them. Physically and spiritually. Read it again.
Riches are not comely for a nigger.
Right.
And what should an envious man do with money?
Now, let's precept that. Let's go to 1 Timothy 6. Watch this. Let me show you how that works. Let's precept that. Let's go to 1 Timothy 6. Right? 1 Timothy 6. And let's look at verse 9 through 10. I'm going to show you the precept for here. For that verse right there, it said, riches are not common for a nigger. And what was that verse? I got it ready for you. And it says, and what shall an envious man do with money? A man that's jealous of other people. What is he going to do with his money? Right? Watch this. Watch what Paul tells Timothy. 1 Timothy 6, verse 9.
But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare and into many foolish and hurtful lusts,
right,
which drown men in destruction and perdition.
So he's not saying that people who are rich is those people who are striving. Their only motivation, the only way they see themselves successful is that they're rich. You understand? He said, read that last part. He said, for those who are trying to be rich will do what?
Fall into temptation.
They fall into temptations
and a snare.
And snares. That's a trip up. That's a pitfall that the devil puts out there for us.
And into many foolish and hurtful lusts.
And foolish and hurtful lusts. Sounds familiar? This is the story of our communities. These are the things that our people are willing to die for. And what else?
Which drown men in destruction.
Which drown men in destruction.
And perdition.
And perdition, another word for sin. Verse 10.
For the love of money is the root of all evil.
Nah, man, just having money is the root of all evil.
For the love of money is the root of all evil.
Right?
Which while some covet after,
Uh-huh.
they have erred from the faith.
They have what?
Erred from the faith
Uh-huh.
and pierced themselves through with many sorrows.
With many sorrows. And it started, ladies and gentlemen, when they erred from the faith. What are you willing to die for? What are you willing to kill your marriage for? What are you willing to kill your career for? What are you willing to destroy your children for? What are you willing to just completely eradicate and destroy the name of your parents for? You understand? What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Back to Sirach 14, verse 4.
He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others.
Read that again.
He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are all of your drug dealers. These are all of your reality stars. These are all of your rappers and your celebrities. Read it again.
He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul
He that gathers by defrauding his own soul,
gathereth for others.
gather for others. Look at where all the money R. Kelly made. Look what he went to. Look at all the money that Bill Cosby went to. Look at all these so-called reality stars. Look at all the drug dealers. What drug dealer you know in your hood that's been doing it for 10, 15 plus years and successful and still got money? All of the money that they make, that they sell in our hood to kill our people, there's a white man at the end of the bar down there that you see every day at Walmart walking around with some $5 shoes on and a $10 t-shirt that's getting the money off of it, and you don't even know anything about it. He's sending these kids to a higher education off of it. Why? You go to prison. Why your brother gets shot. Why your cousin doing 25. Read it again.
He that gathereth by defrauding his own soul gathereth for others.
And now you got these people that's dealing with these so-called reality shows where they go from working at TGI Fridays and Applebee's one night to all of a sudden now they put into this so-called stardom and celebrity life, and in 6 months to 3 years, it's all over, and they find themselves back in the same place, and many of them committing suicide because they done did any and everything just for that 15 minutes of fame. When you get money from defrauding your soul, you are never going to get it for yourself. You're gathering for others. What are you willing to die for? You understand? Watch this. Verse 5.
He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?
Read that again.
He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?
Ladies and gentlemen, if I don't like myself, if I don't love myself, how can I love you? And ladies, you're going and bringing all these dudes into your lives, having children with these guys who don't even love themselves. And just because he can buy you a fancy purse or he can take you on a trip and you can go and flash and flex on social media, what is the end result? Pain, suffering, your kids crying, you're crying, beat up, left, drug addiction, alcohol addiction. What are you willing to die for? Read it again.
He that is evil to himself.
He that is evil to himself, that don't care nothing about himself, don't got no relationship with the Most High, don't take care of himself, don't love himself, ain't trying to be better, ain't trying to educate himself, ain't trying to keep putting himself in harm's way, shooting needles in his arm, drinking pills, popping pills all day. He hate himself. Because anybody who loves himself wouldn't be doing that to himself. Standing out on street corners, looking to be shot. Getting in fights all the time. This man that hate himself, what?
To whom will he be good?
Who gonna be good to? Let's precept that deep. Let's give him Proverbs 13. I'm asking you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What are you willing to die for? Is this what you're dying for? You understand? Proverbs 13, D. Let's precept that verse. Proverbs 13. Let's go verse 21 through 22. Proverbs 13. Let me get there right quick, D. Proverbs 13, verses 21 through 22. Watch this. Look at this precept right here, what Solomon bring out. We give me a bunch of wisdom scriptures tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm there. Proverbs 13, 21 through 22. Watch this.
Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid.
Read that again, D.
Evil pursueth sinners,
Evil pursueth sinners.
but to the righteous good shall be repaid.
You see that? What are you willing to die for? Well, you say, man, I ain't no sinner. That ain't me. Dude, give him 1 John 3 and 4. We had to go here tonight. Because I'm going to show you in the next couple of precepts where all the death is really coming for. But I need to go ahead and get, especially for my Christian brothers and sisters that may be on with you, say, look, hey, that ain't me. I ain't no sinner. I go to church every Sunday. I'm with the Most High. I love Jesus. You've been deceived. Watch this. 1 John 3, verse 4.
Whosoever committeth sin, transgression also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're breaking the Most High's law, if you out here eating swine, shrimp, lobster, and crab, you're a sinner. If you keeping pagan holidays, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you're a sinner. If you going to church on a Sunday and you forsaking the Most High Sabbath, you're a sinner. I don't care what they're telling you in that Christian church. They're lying to you. Watch this. Verse 5. Yeah, say that. I'm on it so they can see all of that.
And you know that he was manifested to take away our sins.
That's Yeshua, who the world know to be Jesus.
And in him is no sin.
So the ones that's in the true Christ of the Bible, they ain't breaking the law. You've been given a false Jesus. You're following a false religion. You're following a lie. Look what else John says, verse 6.
Whosoever abides in him sinneth not.
So the ones that abide in the Christ of the Bible, they ain't breaking the law. What else?
Whosoever sinneth hath
The one who breaking the law have what?
Whosoever sinneth hath not seen him,
Have not seen Yeshua?
neither known him.
They don't know him. Ladies and gentlemen, you might have heard of Jesus, but you never met Yeshua. I need to make that clear before we go forward. Because Christians love to focus a lot on the people in the world. They like to focus on the ones that you deem who your church deem as sinners. No, you're a sinner. You're a pagan. You just got gassed up and lied to. If you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, according to the Most High, you are a sinner. And this is what our people are dying for. Period. Back to Proverbs 13:21. Read that again for them so now that they understand that.
Evil pursueth sinners,
Evil pursueth sinners,
but to the righteous good shall be repaid.
but to the righteous good shall be repaid. Verse 22.
A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of a sinner is laid up for the just.
You see that? Ladies and gentlemen, that's why none of our children are ever having anything when the parents die. Because we've not put ourselves in the positions to have sustainable wealth. You got all these people on Facebook and Instagram flexing and flashing money and all of that. But it's funny, every time it's time for them to die, we got to do a GoFundMe page. People selling all this dope in the hood, but when it's time to bury them and have a funeral, you got to do a GoFundMe page. The wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. What are you willing to die for? You understand? Now, Dick, I think I got enough out of that. No, let's go back to that right quick. I want to get 6 and 7. Watch this, 6, 7, and 8. Watch this. Back in Sirach 14. Watch this. Verse 6. Now let's read verse 5 for him again.
A righteous man hateth lying, but a wicked.
Verse 5 again. Sirach. Back in Sirach. Back in Sirach 14. Verse 5.
He that is evil to himself,
He that is evil to himself,
to whom will he be good?
he's not going to be good to anybody. If you don't love yourself, it's impossible for you to love other people.
But he shall not take pleasure in his good.
And he will never have pleasure in his goods because it's never going to be enough. Because he hates himself. He doesn't feel that he's good enough. So anything that the Most High allow him to have, it's never going to be good enough. Because he don't like what he see in the mirror. If you don't like what he see in the mirror, he definitely don't like when he see you. And many of you are married to these people. Many of you are laying up with these people. Many of you have children with these type of people. Many of you are that person. You're going to church every Sunday singing and with your hands raised and praying hard and doing all of these things, but when you come home, most of you cry yourself all the way to the crib. It is a complete what's the word I'm looking for? It is a task for you to make your way to church every Sunday because you don't feel like doing any of it. You feel completely unfulfilled. You understand? But you don't have any answers for it. You can't see what's going on. You think that it's something that you're doing, it's something that the preacher's doing, or you think that it's something somebody else is doing, but ladies and gentlemen, it's you. Because you're following the wrong Christ. You're connected to the wrong God. And you never submitted to the Most High God. And many of you are dying for it. Watch this. Verse 6.
There is none worse than he that envieth himself. And this is a recompense of his wickedness.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you get to the point where you done so much sin, you've been laying up with so many people, you've been robbing and hustling so many people, you've been a con artist, a liar, a thief. You understand? You get to the point, ladies and gentlemen, that you can't stand yourself. It is nothing worse than that. You understand? And so now, because you can't stand yourself, you got to do whatever it takes to get some type of pleasure. And that normally results in death, drugs, alcohol, wild, unprotected sex, illicit sex, all kind of putting yourself in all type of places with people that you shouldn't be around. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Verse 7.
If he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly.
So even when he does good, this person who hates himself, he does it unwillingly. He does it because he got to do it. So you may see them being the first one to stand up, like, yeah, let's get this money too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're gonna. I'm gonna lead the charge with the fundraiser. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give the first 100, right? I'm gonna go out there and be with the kids. They do it, but they do it unwillingly. What else?
And at the last end, he will declare his wickedness.
At the end, though, before it's all over with, you're going to see the real person come out. Watch this. Verse 8.
The envious man had a wicked eye.
He has a wicked eye.
He turneth away his face and despiseth men.
Mm-hmm.
A covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion, and the iniquity of the wicked drieth up his soul.
You see that? So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why many of you are putting yourselves in harm's way, you're working yourself to death, you're not taking care of yourselves, you're putting yourself in all of these places where you don't need to be, it's because you're trying to gain some form of satisfaction that your wickedness and your sinful lifestyle will never allow to be sustained, never allow it to be quenched. What are you willing to die for? Now, let's go to Genesis, the 2nd chapter. I need you to stay right there in Sirach, because we're going to go to the 5th chapter. Now, I'm going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, what Adam was willing to die for. Okay? I'm going to show you what Adam was willing to die for. Then I'm going to show you what Yeshua, Hamashiach, the world known to be Jesus Christ, is willing to die for. Okay? And I'm going to show you after that, I'm going to help you to see which ones are you still in line with. It is the first Adam or it's the second Adam. And you're going to be able to see from your own perspective. I don't need to tell you from that perspective, what are you willing to die for? Now, I'm going to show you what Adam was willing to die for. And many of you are going to be able to see yourself in it. And you're going to have to be honest. And then we're going to show you what Yeshua was willing to die for. And we're going to ask you, you're going to be able to answer this question for yourself. Am I on the right path, or do I need to do some self-analysis and get off the path and get on the right path to the kingdom? Which is a lesson coming soon, the path to the kingdom. That's coming soon. Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Let's give him verse 15 there.
And the Lord God took the man and put him into the garden.
He took who?
And the Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat.
Right.
But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
But which tree?
But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof shall surely die.
So, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of what they tell you in the Christian church, from Adam all the way up into Jacob, when they was given the Moedic law, Slakia, to Moses, when they was given the Moedic law, 10 commandments, and going forth, all people had laws and commandments from the Most High. Don't let them tell you nothing different. Okay? Before Adam, when he was first placed into the garden, he received a commandment. And read that commandment for him again, Deke, verse 17. What was that commandment?
Of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
But that tree of the knowledge of good and evil,
thou shalt not eat of it.
Thou shalt not eat of it. What would happen?
For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
He didn't wait until he did it and told him. He told him way beforehand, if you do this, you will die. Okay? Plain as day. It's clear. Right? Salaki, my queen. Thwada, my queen. Now, let's go to chapter 3. Let's see what he actually was willing to die for. Let's go straight to it, D. Chapter 3, verse 4 through 6.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
Now, here we go again. The Most High gives a commandment. Give the clear instructions. Who comes along with a different alternative? Satan. Same thing he's doing here today. The Most High says in his word, keep my law, statutes, commandments. Satan gives you a religion called Christianity and tells you, hey man, you straight, break the law. It's the same thing. And it all boils down to what you're going to see when we get to Sirach in a minute. What do you want to do it or not? What are you willing to die for? You see, it would be one thing. It would be one thing if the Most High would have waited till Adam would have been standing there at the tree and say, hey, bro, hey, now look, hey, after you done seen how good it is. No. He told him long before Satan came along with his lies and tricks, if you eat this, you're going to die. What did Satan say in verse 4?
And the serpent said unto the woman.
Notice, ladies and gentlemen, then he went to the woman. That's why I started in Genesis 2. See, the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is what's going on in our homes, and you got to understand this, and I know this may be a touchy statement and a touchy subject, but I don't care what this Me Too moment and all this stuff done produced out here in this world. Society was never given to be ran by women. The church was never given to be ran by women. The homes were never be given to be led by women. Ladies and gentlemen, they like to pump these statistics out to you all the time, talking about there's more women with college degrees than there are men. You think that happened by coincidence? That was by design, especially in our communities. They wanted the so-called black woman to be ahead financially and educationally, so that the black man would be standing there in a position like this with his hands out. Then they set up the welfare system and say, listen, if you bring a man into the house, we take the money. What do you think the woman's going to do? I won't get a man an education because he has a felony of the same drugs that I put in your community, right? So I put the drugs in the community. I make you poor. I put the drugs in the community. You sell drugs to get money. You do it. Then now I can't give you financial aid. You can't get a degree. But I send a woman off to college. And then they tell you in the Christian church, be not in unequal yoke. So now the women is educated, getting money. Black man has nothing. What do you think that just happened by coincidence? It's on purpose. Now, the black man and the black woman is sitting back, sparring up against each other, and now realizing Satan wants you both destroyed. Poking at the woman's feelings, poking at the man's ego. The Most High told Adam, but look who Satan went to. Read it again.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
He didn't say that to Adam. Now, before you guys get into your feelings and say, well, hold up now. Hold up. Is it our fault? It's both of us. Mm-hmm. Because the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, what we're seeing today's time is with this Me Too and all this, everybody trying to be, Captain Marvel, and everybody trying to be, G.I. Jane. You're allowing people who don't want family values to be promoted to talk you out of your own family values. What are you willing to die for? I was told a long time ago, what is more important, being right or being happy? And nowadays, people are more concerned with what they call being right. And look at what happened. Now you got our women 40, 50, 60 years old by themselves. But it was right. And it was all good while you were sitting around popping the wine bottles and dingling on your little trips and all this stuff. How is that working out for you? When the men are sitting somewhere in the corner right now looking stupid because the woman that you done used and abused gone now, how is that working out for us? What are you willing to die for? A better question is, what are you willing to live for? And watch this. Read it again, Dick. He says what?
And the serpent said unto the woman,
He said unto the woman,
ye shall not surely die.
right? Verse 5.
For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with another alternative. With a separate interpretation of what the Most High said here. He told him, he said, listen. He brought it and put it in a package like, listen. The Most High trying to keep something from you. Because he know if you do this, you're going to be like God. Go to Genesis 1 and read verse 26. Watch this.
And God said, let us make man in our image.
He said what?
And God said, let us make man in our image.
Now then give him verse 28.
And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moves.
Now, Salaki, read verse 26 again, and then read 27.
And God said, let us make man in our image.
He made man in his image. He was already like God. Now read verse 27.
So God created man in his own image.
And what?
In his own image.
Uh-huh.
In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them.
You see that? So, ladies and gentlemen, many of you are allowing Satan to play word games on you, and you don't even know who you are already. So that's what's going on with our people, because they have a lack of identity, a lack of heritage, a lack of true understanding of who they really are. You are dying for something that's already yours. So Adam and Eve was right here at this point, giving up everything they had because they were unaware of who they were. And our people, the so-called black man, the so-called African-American man, is giving up everything we have because you don't know who you are. You're dying for something that is yours already. What are you willing to die for? Back to Genesis 3. Watch this. Watch this. Genesis 3. Now, look what he told him again. Verse 4. Verse 5.
For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Right? Verse 6.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
So now she's seeing now there's something that's already hers. She saw that it was good for food.
And that it was pleasant to the eyes.
And it looked good.
And a tree to be desired to be made one wise.
And it made her feel as if she was more than she already was.
She took of the fruit thereof and did eat.
And she did eat the same thing that the Most High told her not to eat. And then look what happened.
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
Now notice, ladies and gentlemen, when the woman ate, nothing happened. You know why? Because the Most High never told the woman not to do it. Right? But see, the truth of the matter is, that's why I said it's equal responsibility. Because the man wanted to do it the whole time. And a lot of times what our men are doing right now is they're allowing the women to get evil and wicked and drop their standards of holiness and righteousness because you want to take advantage of her. So you don't treat her like a queen. You treat her like a whore and a prostitute so that she will become a whore and a prostitute for you, the way you wanted to do the whole time. When she does these things, then you make it seem as if it's on her, when it really was Adam's responsibility the whole time. He was willing to die to have something he was already was. Y'all see that? So notice, she ate, nothing happened. He eats. What was the next verse?
And the eyes of them were both open.
Now the eyes of them are both open because he was the one who broke the commandment. What are you willing to die for? It's the pride of life. It's to have something that Satan told you deserve. You telling yourself, I deserve this. If that's enough for you to die for. Watch this. Now, let's go to John 10. And let me show you what Yeshua was willing to die for. Watch this. Now, notice what Adam did. Notice what Adam gave up everything for, to be a sinner, right? But look at this, what Yeshua was willing to die for. Watch this. John 10. I know we skipped Sirach. I know that I did it on purpose. John 10. Watch this. Verse 15 through 18. Matter of fact, go ahead and put all that in there. John all the way down to Sirach 15. Go ahead and put all that in there. I gotta speed up. Yeah, put that in there. I'm gonna see what the time is if I'm gonna go there. John 10. And we're going to look at verses 15 through 18. Watch this. Let me show you what Yeshua was willing to die for. Yeah, I got my book time right there. Yeah. Guess we ain't gonna make it 2 hours more, huh? All right. Okay, John 10. Let's give him verse 15 there. Let me show you what Yeshua was willing to die for.
As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father. And I lay down my life.
He did what?
And I lay down my life for the sheep.
You see that? So notice that the first Adam was willing to lay down his life to do something for himself. But why did Yeshua lay down his life?
I lay down my life for the sheep.
He laid down his life for us. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Verse 16.
And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
And ladies and gentlemen, let me just go ahead and tell you right now, Christians are going there and say, well, they were talking about the Gentiles. No. Okay. No. That was talking about the 10 tribes that got scattered in 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. Okay. Don't you believe the hype of Christianity? This was talking about the rest of the tribes. Okay? By the time Yeshua HaMashiach, who the world knows to be Jesus Christ, came on the scene, the only people that was left was Judea. That was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That was our people that end up in the West and South Africa. The ones who came here on slave plantations, slave ships. The rest of the brethren had all, by the time, is already over here in the Americas, what they call North and South America, and scattered over parts of Asia and what they call Europe. Okay? This is when you go back and research so-called Indian heritage and records. They'll tell you about a man, about a spirit who came to them and visit them over the times. They were talking about Yeshua, who came to see them when he rose. Okay, they never tell you that. Okay, you understand? When all of us came together over here on the slave ships, this was all of us being in one area, so he can awake Judah first, according to Zechariah 12:7. So that we will be awakened and start waking all of our people back up. That's why he said, I'm going to raise the tents of Judah first. Okay? That's what that's talking about. Don't let nobody con you into believing them. You see, you're talking about the Gentiles. It's going to be all one fold. No. That's not what it's talking about. That's foolishness. Verse 18. That's like it. Verse 17.
Therefore doth my Father love me, because I lay down my life, that I might take it again.
So he said, listen, that's why the Father loved him. Because he's laying down his life so that he may do what?
That I might take it again.
Verse 18.
No man taketh it from me.
No man take it from me. Don't ever get it twisted that the Romans killed him. Don't ever get it twisted that the Jews killed him. Read it again. Look at what he's telling them.
No man taketh it from me.
No man take my life.
But I lay it down for myself.
Myself. I lay it down of myself.
I have power to lay it down, and
right.
I have power to take it again.
Mm-hmm.
This commandment have I received of my Father.
I got this straight from the Father. Okay? So that's what Yeshua was willing to die for. What are you willing to die for? Are you like Adam? Are you willing to die for your sins? Are you willing to die for your own self-gratification? Are you willing to die for your own pleasure? Are you willing to die so that others can be blessed, so others can hear this gospel, that our nation will be saved? What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Let's go to chapter 12. And let's look at verses 24 through 26. John 12, verse 24 through 26.
Verily, verily, I say unto you.
They do. They sure do. Look at what it says.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, except the corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone.
Uh-huh.
But if it die, it bringeth forth much fruit.
And what he's talking about is this, ladies and gentlemen, is that when a seed is planted, ladies and gentlemen, that in order for that seed to actually become productive, to actually bring the fruit, it has to die. It has to go in that ground so that it could die and so that it can produce the necessary production inside of it in order to bring forth more fruit. But if it doesn't die, if it just withers away or get burnt up, nothing comes away from it. Watch this. Verse 25.
He that loves his life shall lose it.
Mhm.
He that hateth his life in this world shall keep it until life eternal.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Yeshua said, listen, if your life is all that it means to you, if everything is about you, you just do you, I'm going to do me, you got this me mentality, you're going to lose your life. If all you're thinking about is yourself, then that's all is, listen, you're done. And the evidence of that should be seen clearly is going on in our communities. You understand? He says, those who love their life shall lose it, but what about those other ones?
And he that hateth his life
But he that hateth his life.
in this world shall keep it until life eternal.
So when you say, listen, you know what, it ain't about me, it's about my Savior. And listen, I don't care. When a man says, when I don't care about my own feelings and my own personal desires, I'm put everything to the side for my family. I'm put everything to the side for my nation. I'm going to put everything to the side for my children. This is how eternal life is gained. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Verse 27. No, that's it on that. Now verse 26.
If any man serve me,
If any man serve me,
let him follow me.
right,
And where I am, there shall also my servant be.
right.
If any man serve me, him will my Father honor.
So when you serve Yeshua, that's when the Most High will honor you. But ladies and gentlemen, what you must understand is that when we go in that water, it is symbolic to him going into that ground and dying for the sins. So there has to be a death that must take place in all of us. But my question once again to you tonight is, what are you willing to die for? You understand? Now, let's go to Romans the 6th chapter. I need you to hold that and get, we're going to be precepting. So let's go to Romans 6. Romans 6. All right. Romans 6, and let's go verse 14 through 16 and verse 23. Watch this, y'all. Pay close attention to this.
For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are no longer under the law, but under grace.
Now, that's what the Christians have run to. They run to that verse right there, boy. That's it. That's it. That's why I took you to 1 John 3 and 4 before we got here. Okay? To let you know what sin is. Okay? Now, give them verse 1 just so they can make a clear understanding of that. Romans 6 and 1.
What shall we say then?
What shall we say then?
Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound?
And you know that 1 John 3 and 4 says that sin is the transgression of the law. So he says, do we keep breaking the law so that grace will abound? What was his answer?
God forbid.
God forbid. Now let's go down to verse 14 and read that again.
For sin shall not have dominion over you.
So the law shall not have dominion upon you.
For you are not under the law, but under grace.
And see, they'll see that right there, boy. They'll see that. They'll get so happy. They say, see that? I told you. We ain't under it. But what's what he say in verse 15?
What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid.
God forbid. Okay? So he came right back and said, okay, just because you're not under law and you're under grace, do you keep breaking the law? God forbid. How can a whole religion be based off of one verse when all you got to do is go one more verse and see what Paul was saying? Watch this. Verse 16.
Know ye not that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death,
Whether sin unto death.
or of obedience unto righteousness.
You see that? So, ladies and gentlemen, when you continuously make your life about sinning, which is breaking the law, you are a servant to sin. And look at what Romans 6 and 23 says.
For the wages of sin is death.
Read that again.
For the wages of sin is death.
What are you willing to die for? For ham? For crab? For Easter? For for Sunday service? To go to the mall on the Sabbath? That's worth dying for? To sleep with as many women as you want to be a homosexual, if that's worth dying for? Read it again.
For the wages of sin is death.
For the wages of sin is death.
For the gift of God is eternal life through Yeshua HaMashiach, our Lord.
Our Lord. What are you willing to die for? Now watch this. Let's go to 1 Timothy, first chapter. Watch this. What are you willing to die for, ladies and gentlemen? Watch this. 1 Timothy 1. And let's start at verse 3.
As I besought thee to abide still as Ephesus, when I went into Macedonia, that thou mightest charge some that they might teach no other doctrine.
He said, listen, I told you, when you stay in Ephesus, when I told you over and over, you charge them that's up under you that they better not teach no other doctrine. Okay? But some kind of way the Gentiles that came from this, they didn't you know, they didn't fall, they didn't submit to that. Don't teach no other doctrine. That's what Paul told them. Watch this, verse 4.
Neither give heed to fables,
Christianity, Catholicism, Protestant Reformation,
and endless genealogy,
right?
which minister questions rather than godly edifying, which is in faith, so do.
So do. You stick to this truth. You stick to this gospel. You stick to this law. Watch this, verse 5.
Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart, and of a good conscience, and of faith unfeigned.
So he said, listen, the end of the commandment, if you're walking in love, then you don't have to worry about it. Where he got that from, they give him Matthew 22. Watch this. Let me show you what that means. Matthew 22, verse 36 through 39. Watch this.
Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Yeshua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Right.
This is the first and great commandment.
That's the first and great commandment.
And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Now, Christians are stopped there. And they said, see, all I got to do is love God, and I got to love other people. Now, hold that right there, Deep. And I'm going to read 1 John and 5. Right? You hold that there as we make that clear. See what Deep Teaser said right quick while I go to this 1 John and 5. Watch this.
There's a key freezing on anyone else's end. Yeah, it's freezing on mine too.
It's showing it's running clear here though. Yeah. On my end, it seems like it's running clear. I don't know why it's freezing on everybody else's end. On my end, it ain't even freezing at all.
Yeah, the wheel will come up every now and again.
See, that's what it's doing. Y'all just stay with us though. Don't quit on us. 1 John 5. Watch this. Read that again now. That what was that? That last verse you read. Matthew 22 and 30. Was that 38?
This is the first and great commandment.
Right.
Then he goes into the second. The second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Now, Christians will see that right there, and they say, you know what? That's it. All we got to do is love God and love people. But let me tell you what John said in 1 John the 5th chapter. By this, 1 John 5 verse 2, by this that we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. Verse 3 says, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. You see that? So don't let them fool you with this whole thing of that. But then they don't even, all you got to do is just go to the next verse and look at what Yeshua said, and you know that's what people saying that is a lie. And he says, what in verse 39?
On these two commandments.
On these two commandments.
Hang all the law.
Hang all the law.
and the prophets.
And the prophet, the same Old Testament that the Christian church telling you ain't got to follow. Y'all see that? Now, back to 1 Timothy 3, 1 Timothy 1. I just want to make that clear. So what Paul was talking about here, and read that from again, verse 5.
Now, the end of the commandment is charity.
Charity is love.
Out of a pure heart.
Out of a pure heart.
And of a good conscience. And of faith unfeigned.
Right.
From which some, having swerve, have turned aside unto vain jangling.
So he says some of them done turned aside. And now they don't went away from that because they're going back and forth with all this foolish babbling back and forth about what they're supposed to be doing. And this is the foolish babbling. Verse 6, verse 7.
Desiring to be teachers of the law.
Now everybody want to teach the law.
Understanding neither what they say or whereof they affirm.
You see that? So the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, was not with the law. It's just the people who are teaching the Bible don't know it. And he says what? Verse 8.
But we know that the law is good.
He said what?
But we know that the law is good.
He said what?
But we know that the law is good.
The law is good.
If a man use it lawfully.
If a man uses it lawfully. Now, let's see when it's time we should use the law. Verse 9.
Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man,
right?
But for the lawless and and disobedient,
for the ungodly,
and for the sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslaughter.
For who else?
For whoremongers.
For who?
For whoremongers. For them that defile themselves with mankind.
That's homosexuals.
For men stealers. For liars. For perjured persons. And if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine.
That's the same thing. All that right there is going on in our community. But yet, the churches in our community are telling them, you don't got to keep the law. That's what the law is for. What are you willing to die for? The fact that the Christian churches, the Baptist churches, the Am Zion churches, the Kojic churches, the non-denominational church, whatever what you want to call it, are in these communities telling people not to follow the law. That's why you see everything mentioned in verse 9 and 10 going on in our community. What are you willing to die for? You see that? Now, let's go to Sirach 15. For those who are just coming on, if you got a separate laptop, Google, separate laptop, or phone, or tablet, you can go into Google and put in SIRACH, put chapter 15, and put verses 11 through 20. All right? Okay? Watch this. Surah 15, 11 through 20. Watch this.
Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away, for thou oughtest not to do the things that he hated.
See, some of the people say like, man, I got back into fornication, man. I fell off, man, because the Lord was trying to test me, man. You know what I'm saying? God, He's just trying to, He's making me a better man. So, He just seeing what I'm made of. Nah. Surah said, read it again.
Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away, for thou oughtest not to do with the things that he hated.
You shouldn't have done what he hated. You know what the Most High say he don't want. It's in his Bible. Me and my queen was just talking about that earlier today. We was talking about the fact that the people keep saying that they don't know what to do, and I need this and I need that, when the Bible makes it clear what you're supposed to be doing. Read it again, D.
Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away.
Nah, man, it's God that did that to me, man, just trying to make me tough. What do you say?
Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away. For thou oughtest not to do the things that he hated.
You shouldn't have never did it. You know what the Bible says not to do. I don't care what they're telling you in the Christian church. I don't tell what the pastor's saying. I don't tell what they're telling you on TBN and Daystar. I don't telling you what your little conscious cats and what you're telling your own self. What you talking about your creator done said. You know what the word says. You should have never done it. Don't blame the Most High. Watch this, verse 12.
Say not thou, he has caused me to err, for he has no need of a sinful man.
Don't try to blame it on the Most High. The Most High can't use nobody that's sinful. So don't try to make it seem like, well, yeah, the Most High doing this because he using me. You know what I'm saying? I done fell off now. I'm into this adultery affair because he going to use my story for, you know what I'm saying, for their glory. This is my test, going to turn to my testimony. That foolishness that you hear in the Christian church. He has no use for a sinful man. You understand? This is what the Bible is saying. And this is what we're saying to ourselves when it's foolishness to the Most High. Watch this. Verse 13.
The Lord hateth all abomination.
Nah, man, he cool with it, man.
The Lord hateth all abomination.
Nah, man, he loved the sinner, though. He just hate the sin.
The Lord hateth all abomination.
He hateth all abominations.
And they that fear God love it not.
You see that? You see that? So that stuff they're telling you in the Christian church, they're saying, he understands? Nah. The Most High said, if you love me, if you feared me, you wouldn't have never been doing it. What are you willing to die for? Just so the men can say, yo, man, that dude, boy, he got all the girls. So that the women can say, man, I tell you, boy, she got them men eating out of her hand. That's what you're willing to die for? For social media likes? For Instagram followers? For hood respect? For some shoes? For some clothes? That's what you're willing to die for? Watch this. Where we at, D? Verse 14?
He himself made man from the beginning.
Right.
And left him in the hand of his counsel.
Who did he leave in the hands of his counsel?
And left him in the hand of his counsel.
Uh-huh.
If thou wilt to keep the commandments and to perform acceptable faithfulness.
So he said, listen. He said, listen. You got all the counsel you want. All you help you need. You got my Holy Spirit. You got my Bible. You got my Son. If you keep my law, I'm going to be there to do whatever you need me to do. You don't keep my law, you don't submit to my Son, you're on your own. Watch this. Verse 16.
He has set fire and water before thee.
Right.
Stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt.
He said, listen, I got the fire and hell, or I got the water you can be baptized in. It's up for you to choose it. You see how this is totally different what they're telling you in the church? Read it again, D. He says what?
He has set fire and water before thee. Stretch forth thy hand unto whether thou wilt.
It's your choice. You can choose the hell, or you can choose the water and get baptized. It's up to you. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Verse 16? Verse 15? 17, Salaki, 17?
Before man is life and death.
Right.
And whether him liketh shall be given him.
It's whatever you want. Life or death. It's up to you. Watch this. Verse 18?
For the wisdom of the Lord is great, and he is mighty in power and beholdeth all things.
Right.
And his eyes are upon them that fear him.
Right.
And he knoweth every work of man.
I'm seeing where you at. I know what you want to do. I know whether you make the choice to live for me, or I know that you make the choice whether to die for your own sins and your own lustful pleasure. I'm seeing it all. Watch this. This is going to crack the skulls of all those who hold to that foolish grace teaching in Christianity. Watch this. Verse 20.
He has commanded no man to do wickedly.
Read that again.
He has commanded no man to do wickedly. Neither has he given any man license to sin.
Read that again.
Neither has he given any man license to sin.
No man. That white Jesus gave you that. Them people that gave you the Baptist doctrine gave you that. They gave you the Methodist doctrine. They gave you that. The Kojic, the holiness, the full gospels, all of that. They gave you that. Read that again for him, verse 20 again.
He has commanded no man to do wickedly.
I ain't commanded nobody to do wickedly.
Neither has he given any man license to sin.
No man. I ain't told nobody to go preach the grace gospel in the church. The Gentiles chose that, and you making the choice to follow the Gentiles. What are you willing to die for? Now, I want you to put 1 Corinthians and Romans 8 in there. And I'm going to give you guys that as a reading assignment. Matter of fact, give them 1 Corinthians all the way down to verse 7. I think I can get these last 3 precepts in this last hour. We're going to give you guys a reading assignment for the Sabbath tomorrow, for the remainder of the Sabbath. 1 Corinthians 15 is going to show you that Adam is the man that is of the flesh, and Yeshua is the man of the spirit. And Romans 8 is going to show you how that if you're following the flesh, you will only get death. If you follow the spirit, that's how you were able to keep the law and give yourself life. You go to Matthew 10, that's going to show you that that Yeshua told us that he's going to send us out, and we were going to be put in situations where we were going to have to put our lives on the line. And when you go to 1 Samuel 17, it's a story of David when he put his life on the line when he fought Goliath. Okay? So that's what I want you guys to read tomorrow for your Sabbath reading. All right? But I got two or three other precepts that I want to give you tonight for this last hour or so. I think these are more important than I need to show you. David is a very popular story. Most people have known those stories before. But let's go to Daniel, the 3rd chapter. And tonight's lesson, once again, is entitled, What Are You Willing to Die For? Hey, Teasy, man, you might have what you're going to have to do, bro. I think that the watch party is the one that's freezing. You might have to get off the watch party and go on the regular lesson. Because when I keep looking down at the watch party on my other phone, I notice that's the one that's freezing. Over here, it ain't freezing at all. Right? I don't know why yours is freezing. Shah said hers is flowing smoothly. And over here it's flowing smoothly. The enemy just, that's how it works sometimes. But we thank the Most High that you're with us tonight. So try go to the main lesson. Come on to the main one and get out the watch party. And we'll see. But the Most High is speaking tonight, so I want you to get the rest of this. But we're talking about tonight, what are you willing to die for? You understand? What are you willing to die for? Now, let's go to Daniel, the 3rd chapter. We're going to give you 2 samples tonight, ladies and gentlemen, of what our people was willing to put themselves in position to live for. Oh, okay. Yeah, it might just be your phone. You know how that thing, you know how it be going sometimes. What I was saying is that our people are so, they're putting their lives on the line. We've been talking about this throughout the lesson tonight. That our people have been putting their lives on the line for all types of wrong reasons. For money, prestige, for women, for men, all kind of reasons why our people are putting ourselves on the line. And that's not what the Most High wants us to be. We're going to give you now 2 examples of what our people was willing to put themselves in very harmful situations. And their lives on the line for this truth of the Most High. And I'm asking the question, as I've been doing all throughout the night, what are you willing to die for? Daniel, the 3rd chapter, D. And let's start there at verse 8.
Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews.
Accused of who?
Accused the Jews.
Uh-huh.
They spake and said unto King Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever.
She gassing them up.
Thou, O king, has made a decree that every man shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and the dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whosoever falleth not down and worshipeth, that he shall be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews.
There are who?
There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They have not served thy gods, nor worshipped the golden image which thou hast set up.
Now, let me break this down. What happened, ladies and gentlemen, is when you go and read the first 7 verses here, you will discover that Nebuchadnezzar, who was head of the Babylonian kingdom, had took down Judea, and along with many other countries and kingdoms all over the world at this time. And he got so gassed up following Satan that he began to see himself as a god. And he got the people to create this golden image of him. And he made a law in the land that at any time when this particular music was played, the world and everybody, all the citizens of the country, the kingdom, had to fall to their knees and worship the image. But I need you to pay close attention to the fact that they said certain Jews wouldn't do it, which meant that some of our people went along with it. They went on to get along. Now, why am I mentioning that? It's because even though for us as in the truth that know that we're not black, that we're not African Americans, as the days and the weeks and the years progress, our family is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We were just talking about this at the last feast that, you know, it used to be just me and Jay, and then now my brothers came in, and then I got my girl that's in the truth and her family, and well, some of her family and the children, and we got all these people that are joining with us at Better Days of Culture. And now the feast days are getting big, and it's getting, you know, then we building with my peoples down in High Point. I just talked to my brother in Raleigh the other day. Then my other brother from Raleigh called me today. I meant to tell you about that. We got people that we building with in Charlotte. You know, I got my brother down there in Jacksonville. Well, he's in Texas now. My brother Christopher, my aunt Christopher, and we just building all over the country with all these brews, and it's getting amazing. And we thank the Most High. But predominantly, when you look at our people as a whole, the percentage-wise, it's probably about 10 to 15% of the people that's in the truth. The rest of our people are either in the world, Christianity, Islam, or just lost, gone, or something else. You know what I mean? So you got a large percent of our people who are proud Americans. They don't care what they see on TV. They don't care what happens. They're going to vote. They're going to serve the holidays. They're going to be down with it. They're going to fight in the military. They're going to wave the flag. They're going to be, it don't make a difference. No matter how we treat it. They all in, right? You got some of our people, they're so committed to their church and their religion. Nothing you can say about it. All in. If they believe that Romans 13 tells them that they got to pray for the president, they got to, be submitted to the government, they all in with that. You can't talk them out of it. Right? So, the problem is, I'm saying all that to say this, is that you got a certain amount of people, especially depending on where you are, that number is very limited around the people who are not submitting and being a part of this Babylonian society we see here in America. Okay, we don't want no parts of it, but it's very few in numbers. But you best believe, ladies and gentlemen, that the ones who are standing out, the ones who are keeping this law, statutes, commandments, the ones who are withdrawn away from societal norms, the brothers that are out with their friend zone, the sisters that are out with their friend zone and their hair wraps, and they're falling away from the holidays and falling away from the family and community traditions. You best believe that they see it, because the majority of this country is in a matrix. No matter what the color of your skin is, they're in a matrix. They're somewhere right now walking around with a phone in their hand. That's the only thing they know. Everything is about their phone. Whatever they see on social media, whatever they see on their little chat groups and their little dating websites and all of that stuff. People are gone, man. They're gone. We was jokingly saying this, but it's a serious. When that End Game came out, that Avengers game, there were people that took the mark of the beast to get a free admission to that game, to that movie. No problem. Would have took the mark of the beast, and would have laughed at you if you didn't do it. You understand? Some people with this Marvel stuff, that's their religion. The comic stuff, these people, yo, I'm telling you, man. People was upset, like, yo, you post some of this stuff about this stuff, and hey, man, I could care less. You could tell me the whole movie. Wouldn't blink if I see it ever. I don't care. It ain't bigging up my God. It ain't talking about the furthest of my people. Who cares? Okay? Because I'm going to tell you right now, when that sky crack, when Yeshua come out there ain't going to be no Hulk, no Iron Man, you understand, no Thor, nobody going to stop my Savior when he come. Okay? He coming. Okay? I just want to put that out there. All right? He coming with all his angels. And he coming for Israel. And the Gentiles who have submitted to the law, statutes, commandments. That's what we coming for. Anybody else? Ain't no gods. Nobody that's going to help you. No Hulk. No Captain America. None of them. Okay? I just want you to know that. Okay? No Captain Marvel. No Superman. No Shazam. None of them. Okay? All of them going to get the sword to the chest. Okay? I just want you to know that. Black Panther, all of Wakanda, everybody that ain't with Yeshua, you getting bombed. You getting done. Okay? So you can put all your faith in Wakanda forever you want to. It's going down. Okay? I just want to make that clear. Okay? We're going to Jerusalem. We're going to Zion. We don't care nothing about no Wakanda. Nothing about it. Okay? But anyway, that's just on some fun. Back to what we're talking about here. So you notice that they only had a problem with the Israelites who didn't want to be a part of the system. And they was hating on the fact that these guys had been elevated into positions in which they wanted. You understand? I can almost guarantee you that it wasn't just Israelites who wasn't bowing, but the Israelites are keeping the law, statutes, commandments. They ain't serving other gods. And that's what they got a problem with. What are you willing to die for here? It's what I'm asking you. Because you best believe in the days to come, it's going to be real. And that's why we started out in Wisdom of Solomon too, that they're gonna make it so that they're gonna see who's with the Most High and who's just talking it. Because these Christians, they're gonna buckle fast. I'm telling you right now, mark my words, a lot of these mega churches is gonna be the sites where the Christians are gonna go get the mark of the beast. Because they found that left behind foolishness. They ain't seen the Antichrist. They're gonna say, hey. So I'm telling you, your local mega church is going to be the place where you can go get the mark at. They're going to be giving them out along with the flu shot and other vaccines. Okay? They're not going to see it coming. The Christians are going to fold fast. Okay? Fast. But what are you going to be willing to die for? Verse 9, where we at, D? Back in Daniel 3. 13. Verse 13.
Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and his fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king.
Right?
Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not you serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up.
So then now, the only crime was that I wouldn't be a pagan, okay? And I'm not going to serve another God that's not mine. They were not killing people. They wasn't robbing and stealing. They wasn't cunning. They wasn't committing adultery or raping. Or they wasn't beating their wives. The only problem that was had was that they wouldn't go along with societal norms of being a pagan. Sounds familiar? Watch this. Verse 15.
Now if you be ready that at what time you hear the sounds of cornet, flute, harp, psaltery, and dulcimer, all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if you worship not, you shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And
Hold on. Let me see before you read that part. That's the part I need to make emphasis, but I need to show this part right here. He said, listen, I know you ain't been doing it. But if you're willing to submit now, all is forgiven. But if you don't submit, at the same moment that you do it, you're going to be cast into the fiery pit. What are you willing to die for? Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know this, but when the Romans destroyed, before the Romans destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD, they were paying false prophets to go out and tell the people not to leave, that everything was going to be okay. Sounds familiar? These preachers and these pastors of these mega churches are telling you every day, every Sunday, you don't need to worry about the law. You don't need to worry about the holy days. The Sabbath is whenever you want it to be. You can celebrate any holiday. Don't let no man judge you for a holy day or a Sabbath. They telling you all is well because Jesus loved you. And many of you are buying it. And in the same way that during that time, that people listen to the lies, they're listening to these lies right now. What are you willing to die for? Look at what the answer that they gave him in verse 16. No. Now read it with that last part what he said, D.
And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hand?
And then he mocked the Most High. Who was that God that's going to deliver you out of my hands? See, the reason why a lot of Christians are going to fold is because they never had the Most High on their side the entire time. Everybody that they was in their family got sick, they died. Everybody that was in a situation, they lost everything. Their family fell apart. Their marriage fell apart. The children went to prison. You know why? Because they never accepted the fact that they were never serving the Most High. So, this is why you hear statements from Christians all the time. If it be God's will. I got to use my common sense. And many of our Christian brothers and sisters, when this day comes, and it's coming, are going to use their common sense, and they're going to take the mark. They're going to sell out. They're not going to go with it. They're going to bow down, and they're going to worship Satan voluntarily, because many of them are already doing it involuntarily and they don't know it. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Verse 16.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter.
He said, listen, man, I'm just going to be straight up with you, man. Hey, I respect you, but hey, it's not even difficult for me to how to answer you. Look how they answer. Verse 18, verse 17.
If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace.
If it be so, he's able. That ain't a doubt in my mind that he can do it. But he said, what else?
And if he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king.
Uh-huh.
But if not,
be
it known unto thee, O king,
I need you to know right here, right now, what?
That we will not serve thy God.
We will not serve your gods.
Nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
And I'm telling you right now, just Joshua 24:16 is another mission statement for a Better Day Ministries and Judah culture. As for me and my house, we will serve the Most High. I will not celebrate your Christmas, your Saturnalia. I will not celebrate your Easter. I will not celebrate your Thanksgiving. I will not celebrate your 4th of July. I will not celebrate your pagan holidays. I will not celebrate your Columbus Day. I will not do your Sunday worship. I will not participate in your voting process. I don't want it. You can have it. You understand? You can have it. You can do whatever you want. We don't want your reparations. We don't want nothing. We will not serve your gods. Watch this. Verse 19.
Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it wont be heated.
Mm-hmm.
And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace.
Right.
Then these men were bound in their coats, in their hosen, and
their hats. Okay.
Their hats and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Right.
Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flames of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Notice that the people that thrown them in there died, and the ones who get thrown in are still alive. So, you can't be worried about the sabotagers. You can't be worried about the scoffers. You can't be worried about the liars. You can't be worried about the people who are trying to expose you. The Most High is going to deal with them. Vengeance is mine, says the Most High. This is where many of our people get off, because you're so focused on what others are doing. You're not focusing on who you belong to. Let them lie. Let them set the pitfalls. Let Satan do what he's going to do. And stand back and see the salvation of the Most High. So the ones who getting thrown in, they ain't dying. But yet the ones who thrown in is already dead. Watch this. Verse 23.
And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Mm-hmm.
Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?
Mm-hmm.
They answered and said unto the king, True, O king.
Mm-hmm.
And he answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men.
I see who?
I see 4 men.
I see how many?
I see 4 men.
Uh-huh.
Loose. Walking in the midst of the fire.
Walking in the midst of the fire.
And they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God.
He's like who?
It's like the Son of God.
He's like who?
The 4th is like the Son of God.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you once again that they were bound up, tied up, wrapped up, tangled up, thrown into the fire, and the one that threw them in died. They did. Right? And then now they're in there walking around loosed. And there's a fourth man in there. And the fourth man is Yeshua HaMashiach, who the world knows to be Jesus Christ. He will always be there with Israel. In the fire. What are you willing to die for? These men said, listen, we don't care if we have to die, we will die, but we will not serve your gods. We will not serve your image. We will not keep your pagan ways. And the Most High honored it. But they didn't know what he was going to honor or not. They knew they had more honor for the Most High than the fear they had for people. Now I got to go to Matthew 10. Go to Matthew 10, D. I got to show them that then. That was in y'all reading that I told you to give, but I got to give them that. Watch this. Watch this. Matthew 10. Here it is, Matthew 10, verse 28.
And fear not them which kill the body,
Fear not them that which kill the body.
but are not able to kill the soul.
He said, don't worry about them that can kill the body, but can't kill your soul. But this is who you fear.
But rather fear him
The Most High.
which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
That's who you need to be worried about. That's who you need to be worried about. Okay? And since my queen put it up there, give him Proverbs 3 and 31. He said, don't worry about them that can kill the body. Okay? You don't need to be worried about him. You need to be concerned with the one who can kill your body and your soul in hell. What are you willing to die for? They're giving that Proverbs 3 and 31.
Envy thou not the oppressor,
Envy thou not thy oppressor,
and choose none of his ways.
and choose none of his ways. Okay? Don't worry about what he can do to you. You more better be worried about what the Most High going to do to you if you choose his ways. You understand? Now, that's it on that, D. I got to give him this Maccabees. Put that in there for him, D. That second Maccabees, 7. I got him giving this Maccabees. Tonight's lesson is entitled, What Are You Willing to Die For? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. If you have any children that are watching with you right now, you might want to, they may not be ready to hear this. This is a hard read right here. But I'm bringing it out tonight because, as I tell you, as we've been saying throughout this lesson, when we started the lesson, we talked about the fact that we was looking at Saul, Minister Society the other day, and when the grandfather asked Cain, he said, "Are you scared whether you live or die?" He was like, "I don't know." And there's so many people in our hood. You on that cord? Pull it off. There's so many people in our hood, in our communities, that are willing to die for anything senseless. But I want to show you tonight what our ancestors were willing to die for. This is a hard read, but I need you to see this. So next time you grab, you go do your pig picking. You put your ham on the table. You put your bacon and your sausages and all those things that are unclean, and you try to say that this is black people food and this is our stuff, this is our tradition. I want you to remember this, what our ancestors were willing to do versus what our people are doing today. Second Maccabees, the 7th chapter. Let's start at verse 1.
It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken, and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips.
Now, so the king came down to Judea. They was fighting against the Grecians, the so-called Idumeans. And these are your modern day Jewish people today, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the people that are real, that are in ruling powers today. The ones that you got over there in their Jewish colony they call Israel today. These are the Idumeans, the ones who have tricked the whole world to believe that they are God's people. This is when we were in captivity with them. This is another reason why they don't want this Apocrypha. They took the Apocrypha out of the Bible so that you won't know that it's happened, what they did to our people. So during this time, we were fighting the people, Alexander the Great and those people. They came and took some of our people. And it was 7 sons and a mother. And they thought the way to torture them was to tell them, yo, go eat some swine. I just want you to think about that. Our people saw the law so important that they knew that the way to try to destroy them, the way to get to them is to try to put the law, them breaking the law, as a choice. And when they wouldn't do it, what did they do? How did they torture them?
And they were tormented with scourges and whips.
So they was beating them. The same tools that were used when Yeshua was crucified. That's what they were doing against his sons and his mother. To do what? To eat a piece of swine. I just want you to think about that. See, the reason, ladies and gentlemen, you think that this is a part of your culture is because when they brought us over here, do you know how many of our people willingly died before they eat swine when they came over here? They don't never tell you about that. The rest of them, ladies and gentlemen, they starved out, but they wouldn't let them starve because you can't have productive slaves without eating. So they created machines where they would open the slave's mouth and force swine down his throat. And some of them just got to the point where, like, we just dying and we just can't keep dying. Bump it. Okay, we'll eat it. And then our people, because we're so resilient, we end up becoming the best cooks of it. Okay. So now you think hog chitlins and hog maws and bacon and fatback, all of these things that they didn't even want, they threw to the slaves, you think that's good eating. When it was all we had. Because we were slaves. And many of our people during the slavery times chose to die rather than to eat it. And now our people are voluntarily doing it and will lie to themselves and will gas up and put out and preach false sermons and take scriptures out of context to justify eating swine. But I'm going to show you what our ancestors was willing to do for it. When it came to eating swine. Verse 2, watch this.
But one of them that spake first and said thus, what wouldst thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers.
Read that last part, D.
We are ready to die rather than transgress the laws of our fathers.
He said, do you not understand? We will die before we transgress the law of the Most High. You ain't figured it out yet? Watch this. Verse 3.
Then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and then cut off the uttermost parts of his body and the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on.
So the one that spoke up, that was bold enough to stand up and say, we ain't going to do it. He cut off his tongue, he cut off his male member, and threw it in a frying pan while everybody sat there and watched him bleed out because he wouldn't eat swine. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Verse 5.
Now, when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought into the fire and to be fried in the pan. As yet the vapors of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another. They exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus.
He said, listen. So right now, while they brother is in there being burnt and cooked alive, the rest of the brothers are exhorting each other and encouraging one another, and told their mama this. Look what he said.
The Lord God looketh upon us in truth, has comfort in us.
He said what?
The Lord God looketh upon us, and in truth has comfort in us, as Moses in song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, He shall be comfort in his servant.
Right.
So when the first was dead after this manner, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when he had pulled off the skin of his head with his hair, they asked him, Wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body?
He said, listen. So as they one brother that was bold and said, listen, man, I don't care what you do, we're not going to break the law. As he was being dying, instead of them crying and falling and say, okay, we'll eat the swine, we'll do it, they encouraged each other. And then they brought the second one out, and they ripped his hair off, with his head, ripped the skin off his head, just ripped it off. What are you willing to die for? And he said, listen, we're going to do you the same way. Just eat this piece of swine. Watch this. Verse 8.
But he answered in his own language
In the Hebrew.
and said, No.
No.
Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did.
He said, listen, I don't care. What are you willing to die for? Many of you'd have walked in with the ham sandwich in your pocket. Talking about Jesus got me. Look at what our people are dying in the hood for, and look at what our ancestors were willing to die for. Dying over shoes. Dying over cars. Dying over money. Dying over unfaithful hoe. Dying. While our ancestors that we die for the law of the Most High. Watch this. It gets worse. Watch this. We at verse 9.
And when he was at the last gasp,
And then right there, when he about to take his last breath, what did he say?
Thou like a fury taketh us out of his present life, but the King of the world shall rise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life.
Read that again for him, Dick. Tell him what he told him, Dick.
And when he was at his last gasp,
When he was at his last breath, the last bit of breath he got in his body, what did he tell that Gentile?
Though like a fury taketh us out of this present life,
Yeah, you killing me right now, but what's going to happen?
but the King of the world
But the Most High,
shall raise us up, who have died for his laws,
will die for what?
died for his laws,
Die for his hood.
died for his laws,
Die for his gain.
died for his laws,
Die for money.
died for his laws,
Uh-huh.
unto everlasting life.
We're going to be rose up. You'll never be able to take that from me. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. Verse 10.
After him was a third made a mocking stock. And when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hands manfully.
He said, listen, here, cut him off. Here, take the tongue. Cut it off. You ain't got to take it from me. I give it to you. You ain't got to wrestle me to the ground. I give it to you. Watch this. Verse 11.
And said courageously, These I had from heaven,
These I got from heaven.
and for this law I despise them.
He said, listen, for this law, for this Most High's law, it don't mean nothing to me. This law means way more than my body. My relationship with the Most High means way more to me than my life. What are you willing to die for? Watch this. What else?
And from him I hope to receive them again.
And I'm going to get it again. I'm going to get it again. The Most High going to give it to me again. I ain't worried about it. Watch this.
Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for he nothing regarded the pains.
He said, listen, even the king started looking like, man, these dudes real. Now the Gentiles that are sitting there torturing him, they start looking like, man, yo, these some different cats. They way wilder than us. Watch this.
Now, when this man was dead, also they tormented and mangled the fourth in the like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus,
What did he say, D?
It is good, being put to death by men, to look up for hope from God, to be raised up again by him. As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life.
He said, listen, you know what? It's good for me to die for the Most High law. But you, on the other hand, you will never be resurrected. You will burn in hell for the rest of your life. What are you willing to die for? He said, what's happening to me right now? What's happening to my brothers? Yo, we know we going to get blessed for this. But you, you going to pay for what you did to us. Watch this. What we at, D?
15.
Verse 15?
Afterwards they brought the fifth also and mangled him.
Let's keep going down the line. All, and I'll keep reminding you, all because they wouldn't eat swine. What are you willing to die for? Watch this.
Then looked he unto the king and said, Thou hast power over men.
Y'all got power over men.
Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt.
Yeah, you straight. You do whatever you want to right now, but what?
You think not that our nation is forsaken by God, of God.
But see, what you don't realize is that the only reason you able to do this is because of the Most High. Don't you get it twisted. You're not doing nothing. You understand? That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I keep trying to tell you, when you keep talking about slavery and oppression, you keep talking about all the stuff that's happening, you keep talking about the so-called white man, you're missing it. That's what they want you to think. That empowers them. When you think about what we're going through, you need to look at the law, you need to look at Yeshua, and you need to look at the Most High. The Most High put us there. We broke the law. That's caused it. And Yeshua, or Mashiach, is the way out of it. Not protesting, not voting, not getting a bunch of money, not none of that. But what are you willing to die for? You understand? Watch this. Where we at, D? Verse 16?
17.
Verse 17?
But about a while,
You abide for a while.
and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed.
He's going to torment you and your seed. Everything you've done to us, all of the nations, they're going to pay. Watch this. Verse 18.
After him also they brought the six, whom being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our God. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us.
Then he went back and reminded them again. I want you to know, you ain't doing this. We in this position because we did it to ourselves. That's the empowerment of knowing who you are. So when these Gentiles are mocking us or laughing, you have to remind them, no, we did this to ourselves. This is the Most High, but we coming out. Watch this. Verse 19.
But think not thou hast taken in hand to strive against God, that thou shalt escape unpunished.
You're not going to escape it. There's nothing you're going to be doing. Your destiny is sealed. You're going to pay. Verse 20.
But the mother was marvel above all.
But the mother was marvelous above them all. Notice, this whole time, she's standing there and watching her sons go through all of this. And look at what she says.
But when she saw her 7 sons slain with the space of one day,
In the space of one day,
she bare with a good courage because of the hope that she had in the Lord.
and what did she say?
Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. And she said unto them,
So all of her feelings and emotions that were telling them to just eat it, baby, just eat it. She's like, nah. She encouraged them. Stand with the Most High, baby. Stand with the Most High, baby. Ladies, I need you to see this. Because what are the mothers telling the sons now? Go get that money. Go hustle. Get your hustle on. No. She would tell them, stand, baby. Trust the Most High, baby. The Most High got you. All of her emotions that were telling them, that wanted to tell them, just eat the swine. She stood bold. What are you willing to die for? What are you telling your children? Watch this. Verse 22.
I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you.
Mm-hmm.
But doubtless the Creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again.
He's going to do what? Give you life again?
Give you breath and life again.
He's going to give it to you again. And what else?
As ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake.
For what?
For his law's sake.
Because you regarded not yourself for his law's sake. Y'all see that? What are you willing to die for? What are you willing to tell your children to stand for? What are you going to live for? This is what our ancestors was doing. You understand? Look at this. Look at this power, man. Look at this strength, this fortitude versus what we're seeing today. Watch this. Verse 24.
Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, while the youngest was yet alive.
So now, he's seeing now that his little act that he's putting on there. I don't want you to think, ladies and gentlemen, this was done in a corner somewhere. This was done in front of the king in his palace, in front of all of his leaders, all of the Gentile leaders all over his kingdom. And he knew that eventually they would mock the law and they would go with what he said, but they wouldn't do it. So now he's seen he'd been played and made a fool of. So now because he couldn't get through with the torture and pain and fear of death, and he know that the people gonna clown him, now he's switching up a new narrative. See, ladies and gentlemen, what he's about to offer him now is what you're seeing that Satan offer our people today. When we came out to slave plantations, man, they was killing us left and right. Ride after ride, bomb after bomb, lynch after lynch, picnic after picnic. Throughout the so-called civil rights movement, they was gunning us down, blowing up churches, blowing up homes, showing up the houses, bringing us out there, lynching us and hanging us. But we wouldn't stop. So you know what the enemy said? If we can't kill them off, let's make them submit for the cash. Here's them in front of him action. I'm going to let you come to my restaurants and my colleges. I'm going to let you get my jobs and make you think you're included. Now I'm not going to call you colored no more. I'm going to call you African American. I'm going to call you Native American. I'm going to call you Latino American. Dominican American. You see that? Here, go vote. Here, get a rap deal. Here, play in the NBA and the NFL. I know you'll forsake the law when I tell you that, because guess what? By being included in all of these activities and being a Christian, you won't be keeping the law. See how he did that? All of the things that the Gentiles offered us, the main requirement is you have to forsake the Most High's law. You want the rap deal? You got to forsake the law. You want to be in college? Guess what? I'm going to bring the women out. I'm going to bring the money out. I'm going to bring the parties out. You got to forsake the law. Or you want to be a movie star? Here, Halle Berry, go do a love scene. Denzel, go be a crooked cop. I give you an Oscar. You want to be in the NFL? You want to be in the NBA? This is the lifestyle that we want you to live. And that's the ones I'm going to celebrate. The ones who are doing good, no endorsement deals. The ones that are doing holy, no endorsement deals. The ones that are going home with their kids and their wife, no endorsement deals. Only the whoremongers. Only the ones who live a lifestyle outside of this and this. What are you willing to die for? So look, I need you to see everything that's happening here. It's the same thing they're doing now. So watch. When he couldn't do it through fear and death, look at what the narrative is now. Watch this. What we at? Still in verse 24. Watch this.
While the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and happy man.
You see that? He done sat here and killed all of his brothers. And he said, you know what? I'll make an oath with you, man. You eat this swine, I'm going to make you a rich and happy man. Sound familiar? What else you say, D?
If he would turn from the laws of his father.
You got it, but that's the key. That's the key. You must turn from the laws of your fathers, and what else?
And that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with his affairs.
Then not only am I going to make you rich and put you on, I'm going to give you a political position in my kingdom. I'm going to call you friend. I'm going to let you come to my country clubs. I'm going to let you be a congressman, a senator, even president. Just forsake the Most High law. I give you a mega church. Just tell them niggas to break that law and eat all the swine they want. Yes, sir, boss, I'll do it. Listen, you want to be a millionaire? Just tell them to sell drugs and kill each other and pop pills. I'll make you a millionaire. Yes, sir, boss. But let's see what our ancestors chose to do versus what our people are doing today. Verse 25.
But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life.
So then, when he wouldn't listen, then he goes in through the ways of the mother. Sounds familiar? Listen, I know you're tired of struggling. Listen, I'm gonna make your son. Listen, that guy can run. That guy can jump. And we're gonna set him up. We're gonna send him to this college. Listen, he's really good with his words. We're gonna give him this rap deal. You know, I'm gonna make him a star. But you need to tell him, like, you know, you gotta put that Bible down now. Well, I know you raised him in that Bible. You know, I know certain things you ain't gonna do, but you know, you gotta put that Bible down. I know you raised her not to be a homosexual, but you know, that's the thing that's popular right now. She gotta be a pansexual these days. Okay? You gotta be able to do whatever. I know that's not really her thing, but listen, I need her to start wearing man clothes. It's going to open up a lot of doors for her. Yeah, I know she's a very beautiful lady. But listen, and you know, she can get some modeling deals, but I need her to be naked. Need her to do a couple sex scenes. I'm going to take care of him. I promise you, he will never have to struggle like you. You understand? This is what's going on. But listen what the mama said. Watch this. Verse 26. Verse 27. Yeah.
And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son.
So then when she came, she kept on. Now, the whole time, now remember, all this is going down. Y'all think this is just happening in 1 minute of like just one. Nah, this is time going on. He's bringing in son after son, just killing them. And now he's doing all of this and talking to the mama over on the side because now he got to save face. This whole experiment didn't work here. Okay? It didn't work. Okay? When they came up with the eugenics and the vaccines and the putting syphilis in us and putting all these drugs in us and poisoning our water and poisoning our food and putting on these movies, these Dolomite and these, Superfly and all these drug movies and pimp movies. And when it did, and they put the crack in there and the abortion clinics and all these things, when that didn't work, ladies and gentlemen, they had to say, listen, now we got to switch it up now. Okay? They tried to kill us and it didn't work. Okay? So after the woman, talked all this woman in this woman's ear, he said, "Yeah, okay, all right. I counsel him. Okay, I counsel him. I talk to him. But you already know better. Watch this. Verse 27.
But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn.
Laughed at him in his face. You must be out of your mind. You must have lost every ounce of brain function for real. If we're going to take your money and sell out. What do you say? What you say, Deep?
Spake in her country language of this manner, O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nursed thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured these troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that God has made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise.
Right.
Fear not this tormentor.
Fear not this tormentor.
But being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death.
Take thy death.
And I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren.
He said, listen. Take thy death. And I'm going to receive you again. Verse 30.
While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, Whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment.
Mama, you ain't had to say all that.
But I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses.
Read that again.
But I will obey the commandment of...
Now read the whole thing. He said, I will not do what?
I will not obey the king's commandment.
I will not obey the king's commandments.
But I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses.
You see that? What are you willing to die for? $31.
And thou that has been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of God.
He ain't going to escape. He going to pay for it. Watch this. 32.
For we suffer because of our sins.
Read that again.
For we suffer because of our sins.
They never lost sight of what was going on. And that's what you got to realize. This captivity, this current state that we're in right now, we in this because of the sins of our ancestors. We're in this situation because of the sins that we chose to do. Nobody did this to us. We did it to ourselves. I know when the gun is smoking and we're on the ground dying, you may see a so-called white man. When the needle's going into you, you may see a so-called white man. When you're in the court and they're hitting the tray, you may see the so-called white man. You see all this, but you got to get out of that mentality. You can't keep thinking that way. Because number one, it's going to have you hating people who don't hate you. You got to read Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35 says the mounts of Edom. And this is what's going on with our people. It's because you're getting caught up in who's doing it, and you're losing sight of who's not. You understand? So you got to be careful when you get caught up in these things, and you actually hating people. That's what it talks about. Where it talks about it in Isaiah 63, because the Gentiles, the ones that are with the Most High, are going to be the ones that's helping us, blessing us, and many of you are going to burn the bridges because you got this whole mentality of you a Gentile, I can't be with you at all. That's foolishness. I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to make that clear. Watch this. Where we at, D? Verse 34?
33.
Verse 33?
And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while,
For a little while,
for our chastisement and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants.
right?
But thou, O godless man, and all of other most wicked, be not lifted up with